Thought we executed well today. Some things to clean up, just like anything else. But it was good to see our guys go make some plays today.
That's Bills quarterback Josh Allen. Happy Victory Mondays. The Bills defeat the Panthers 29-14 in their first preseason outing. In Allen's time in the game, he went 6 for 8 for 111 yards and a touchdown. Ian Wheeler, the leading running back, 7 carries for 41 yards. DJ Moore, the leading receiver, 3 receptions, but for 61 yards. Keon Coleman caught the first touchdown, and Kenai Walker tallied an interception for the defense as well. Around the NFL, per ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Cowboys are expected to sign edge rusher Von Miller, formerly of the Commanders and the Bills, of course. Schefter also reports that the Cardinals running back Jeremiah Love is dealing with a high ankle sprain. Colts coach Shane Steichen said he does not expect wide receiver Alec Pierce dealing with the ankle injury to resume practicing this week. And ESPN's Jeremy Fowler believes Browns coach Todd Monken could name a starter after some point after Saturday's preseason game against the Bills. In other news, former Major League pitcher Tommy John, the namesake behind the elbow surgery, passed away on Saturday at the age of 83. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Do we see one?
This is big.
I didn't see anyone repost it like they normally would.
We need to do. Our buddy Howard Simon got hacked last night. If you see that,
Yes.
It's not Howard.
Nah.
Just
He
a
did
heads
not
up.
buy a G-Wagon, for anyone wondering.
No.
Don't even know what that's in reference to. I got a DM. That's all.
did
That's
too.
all I got.
I got a DM, but there's a tweet.
There was a tweet with a G-Wagon, and I got into crypto digging and crypto mining, and here's my coach. DM her.
Yes.
Stay away.
Is this karma for not picking the Bills this year? Some have asked.
Cosmic karma.
Yeah.
Coming back around.
No.
Well, we got a preseason game in. We are through one. The Bills are 1-0 in the preseason, and we will talk all about it today. Sal's going to join at 7. We got Dan Fates coming up at 9 on everything that happened on the field. I'd love to hear from fans that were in the stadium. I was not in the stadium. I sold my tickets for Saturday's preseason game. I had a birthday party. I had gone to the scrimmage. I had been on tours before that, and going to the home opener. So I'm like, I'll sell these. They really did go down. I had already sold them, but on the last day, on Saturday, any secondary market, we had a lot of secondary market ticket talk last week for how expensive tickets have been, and they shot down on Saturday. So I don't know how many people that were trying to actually did sell them, but the stadium looked packed on TV. And Shadow Report, one of the things that we were tracking, we'll get to that. I'm gonna get that right here because really there were none, right? In the seats, we figured out who might be in the shade.
Right.
But I never noticed a time on the field where we were dealing with shadows.
No, it never looked too egregious in any way. Like it looked good. Like everything was under control. That was something I was watching too, because you get weird stuff. Dallas has that situation where they got the sun coming in, and you never know. There could be some weird thing that just didn't get caught in the engineering process that you get to a game day and you're like, oh man, wow, we didn't think of that, and here we are.
Yeah,
It did look like the Bills ended up with a little bit of shade though, which was nice.
the Bills were
Shadow-wise.
in the shade on their sideline.
Mhm.
Yes, I noticed that as well. So a little bit of the Miami vibe to it. Miami, you get much worse heat, but we had that as well. So give us a call. 803-0550 is the phone number. Who you're most excited about, who you're really trying to stiff arm the preseason pledge to the side for because you're really excited about blank. There were a couple of guys that we'll get to today that I thought had really good days, and we'll test that for sure. But also your stadium experience, because for many it would have been their first time in there, and I want both. I mean, I think just gloating about how great the stadium is should be right at the top here, because it's going to be an incredible day for many fans every time they step into that building this year. every game this year will be somebody's first. And that, for a lot of people, I'm sure, on Saturday was that. And even if you went to the scrimmage, this is one thing that maybe I missed out. By the way, Jeremy's off today, if you didn't notice, and we got a couple guests later on. Owen's here, Joe's here. So give us a call. The one thing I did not experience being at the scrimmage, you don't really get a game day schedule, a game day atmosphere. I mean, you don't get the replay reviews up on the board. You don't get, challenges and whatnot. You don't get, the third down train horn. You don't get the graphics on the screen. You also don't get what does this play look like over here? And that's going to be more for the people that have obstructed views. I saw some videos of the people dealing with that in a game for the first time. And I want to hear from you as well. If you're someone that has that, maybe it was not as bad as you thought. Maybe it was as bad as you thought. Maybe, it was different than the scrimmage in some way, shape, or form. Or maybe you bought a secondary market ticket in one of those seats and you have a review on them. I saw Thad Brown and other Bills media guys were going and talking to the people in those seats. And I think those people do matter because I think a lot of them were misled. And I also have heard stories of the Bills taking care of them, offering them to move. Some people. I don't know if that's everybody. So if you have an experience from your stadium experience doing that as well, feel free to call. But I didn't experience all the game day stuff. And I wonder how different it really felt in there from the scrimmage. The cheer, everyone knowing when to cheer when there's a touchdown to Keon Coleman in the first quarter. Or just Allen playing at all. I wonder how much Allen playing really was impacted by it being the first game in the new stadium, even if game is, we're being loose with that definition. And, you got everything you might have thought you would have got in the Josh Allen experience. They were great. They were driving down the field. He made a couple of incredible plays. He also took some hits.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yes, he did.
It was a little scary to watch.
Did not like that. What was the scariest one? Was it the one where he fell into the back of Spencer Brown?
Yeah.
Awkwardly.
That could have been a double whammy. I did not like the look of that one at all.
That's definitely the most scary.
For sure. The line scared me a little bit a couple times.
Without McGovern,
Yeah.
that was
Right.
the only thing that was making me feel okay in my head. Okay, this isn't how this is going to be. But yeah, it was scary without Connor McGovern.
I saw, who was it? It was the analytics guy on Twitter that Mike and Chris had on recently that was tweeting about this. I'll get the name. He tweeted that Allen really should throw the ball away. I think it was on a play where maybe he completed it, and Bills fans just annihilated him on social media, some of them. And he's like, I'm just trying to keep Josh Allen healthy.
Right.
Like,
that's just, he's out there playing. He's gonna
I know.
play.
Just don't need 20-yard completions over, the hits. But they got out of it. He got out of it.
He did.
They got out of it pretty much unscathed.
Yeah, right? Nothing significant that comes to mind.
No. DJ Moore got a little shaken up.
Right.
But he was good to go, it seemed, and they just took him out.
I was watching the first quarter, and he looked great, and he wears no socks, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if he'll do that in the regular season. Not many players do that. He goes down after a nice catch on the sidelines, coming back to the football, and he immediately grabs his ankle.
Yeah.
Immediately. But he got right up, went to the sideline. Don't think he ever went in the medical tent. So, I think we might be in the clear on that one. But
Allen went over to check on him right away. At least the TV broadcast was saying, and he said he was good. So he told the quarterback he was fine.
Yeah, so we'll see if we get anything more than that, but it doesn't sound like it's anything major. We've got details on Connor McGovern's injury to get to, and how that relates to the opener, and everything that happened in the preseason. Guys that are fighting to make the team that looked good, fighting for starting spots. There is so much to get to from the Bills beating the Panthers. We'll go right to your phone calls, though. I want to know about your stadium experience. 803-0550, something that stood out to you or something that wowed you, or, again, if you're one of the fans in an obstructed view, how was it for a game? Was it any better or worse than you might have thought? Let's go to Matt in the car first. Hey, Matt. No Matt. With authority, no Matt, by the way. So I'll tell you what the number one thing that is on my mind from that game, because Moore looked great. That's a continuation of training camp. And that is a continuation of the Bills' attitude towards DJ Moore all spring, going back to what they gave up for him and how much money they were willing to give him after they acquired him from the Bears. But I think the biggest test right now of the preseason pledge, I think is Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
Coleman on Saturday, he has had training camp hype before. And last year was somewhat of that. I think it was over-exaggerated how good of a camp he had, because I remember watching camp, Jeremy too, not thinking like he's having a dynamic, unbelievable camp. It was more up and down, he'd make some splash plays here, splash plays there. But this year at camp, same thing, like up and down, right? Couple drops.
It's the very first day, right? Drop and then a good play.
Yeah.
Like that has been him. And that's been the story.
Yeah, it's been pretty consistent throughout camp. A lot less chatter about him, though.
That's true.
Which I guess is like no news might be good news, and kind of. But.
Yeah. Last couple preseasons, it wasn't much. I don't know how reliable preseason stats are, but like Fox has preseason stats up for players, and they have Keon Coleman at 20 yards in his first 2 preseasons total. So wasn't really popping off in the preseason, but what we did get on Saturday from Coleman was 2 things. One, he was out there, and he was also performing. He caught a couple of passes. It was only 3 for 17 yards, but 4 targets. He caught a touchdown. And Allen, I watched that play back on the All-22, and Coleman mirrored what Allen did in the backfield, which I would imagine they're taught to do.
Yeah.
Like, if Allen's rolling right, and he stops, and he steps left to go around a pass rusher, you stop, you step left, and you start heading that same direction.
Right.
Like, you really want to mirror Allen on that.
And he wasn't good at that historically, right? Like, the last couple seasons, one critique has been, like, he's not getting open when Allen's scrambling around very frequently.
There were some moments where he did, but I think in large part that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he's working back to the football when he catches a tip pass against the Ravens.
Right.
There would be a couple moments, but I think you're right. Like, I remember seeing clips on Twitter of guys posting all 22, like, Coleman's not running with Josh on this one.
Right.
Here he did. Here he caught a touchdown for it. Nice. I think the more important thing from Coleman, and this is where does this qualify for the preseason pledge? Because this isn't how good you did. This is where did the coaching staff use you, and when did they use you? And that is often, if I'm looking for anything in the preseason ever, whether it's for the Bills or for its fantasy, whatever it is, I typically care more about when the guy's out there and where he is, more than what's he actually doing in the plays. These teams are not game planning, although there was maybe a thought that the Bills did a little game planning, which would be interesting. Talk about that with Sal in a little bit. But teams are typically not game planning. You're going out there, you're running plays, and you're playing more on instinct. Coleman was used all over the formation. And he was out there from the jump. Like, Josh Allen is on the field, Keon Coleman is on the field. And I didn't have snap counts in front of me specific to when Allen was out there, but it seemed like every play Allen was out there. Coleman was out there except for like 1 or 2. And on top of that, Coleman's had one of the least diverse roles as a wide receiver in the last couple of years. There was a chart that was going around a couple of weeks ago about the routes you run and where you line up and how diverse is the job that you're being asked for. And Coleman was like the only guy in the way bottom left. Just he runs the same couple of routes and he never lines up in a different spot. His rookie season, I remember him looking up that he had played like 7 total snaps in the slot. I think he might have played more than that on Saturday in the slot. Like Coleman was being used in the slot. Mm-hmm. There was the big play that Shakir made down the field. Shakir was tight to the lineup. the line, but Coleman was more inside than he was. And that was true on a lot of other plays. So he was still being used outside some. But if that carries over to the regular season, that is the only place for me, someone that did not like the Coleman pick when they made it, did not like the prospect, wish they had drafted somebody else, and has not been impressed through 2 years, which would be hard to be impressed, right? On the field, off the field, just isn't going well. The only place I've ever had any optimism about Coleman is, well, can he be a big slot? Because when he entered the league, there were a lot of smart people that believed if he does have a path to NFL success, that's the way it's going to happen. And the Bills have never put him in that position. He's been an X receiver. They said it the day he was drafted. Brandon Beane went to the podium and said he's going to play X for us. And he's played X for them. Yep. Big receiver, on the line, outside for 2 years with pretty modest success. And now, all right, I got a preseason game where they're moving him all around. He's in motion. He's the guy that's running the short underneath route, finding a soft spot in the zone. Shakir's doing other things. And that, to me, would be my only place for Coleman optimism, is the role he was best suited for coming out of college. The Bills might finally be ready to give him a shot at.
Right. It's all true, and I'm very curious to see where they go with Coleman there. I am curious if this becomes a theme, because you just hit another one. Shakir was on the outside making a play downfield, right? How much have we talked about the defense and how roles will shift, guys will be flexible, all of that, right? We've got offensive linemen that are going to play different positions. It feels like this is a theme under Joe Brady, that we're going to be more ready to do different stuff. We want to be adaptable and be ready to pivot if we need to. And I think that feels to me like maybe the biggest departure from what the old sort of Sean McDermott era has been. Was that was very rigid and binary, even in the style the defense played. It was, if you're an edge rusher, don't get out of your lane. Keep everything on the rails. Know where you're going to be. Know where your guy's going to be. This now feels, and again, acknowledging that this is one preseason game here, but it feels to me like there is a lot more of, we're going to throw a lot of stuff at you. You're going to have to do different jobs, and we're going to try to be more flexible in what we're trying to do. And listen, if that's going to be a theme or a thing that Brady really tries to enforce as a sort of ethos of this team now, I am all in on that, because that is, I think, what good teams now do. They make you think, and you don't know what you're about to see. And I think we are seeing signs that is happening here. And that, to me, is exciting on both sides of the ball. So I'm very curious to see if that's something we continue to see happen here.
I mean, you've heard Bean for multiple offseason now talk about positionless players. Yeah. Specifically Khalil Shakir. Oh, he can play on the outside. And like, they've used positionless players as a term before. But like Owen's saying, it almost seems as if, again, preseason pledge. But first game, they're doing that more already than they did under the old regime, if you will. So how much is that going to contribute to Sean McDermott was the reason no one was playing a positionless role on offense, right? Or whatever like that. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not even jumping to the McDermott part of it. I think Brady could naturally evolve in certain ways with it having no impact on whether McDermott's above him or not.
Sure, right.
And that, I just feel like that has been obvious with a guy like Coleman all the way through. You don't have separation skills. You just don't have it. You don't have the speed to generate it. You don't have the expert route running to do it. So do what he's best at. And I thought all along that there has been a misconception of what he's best at. It's not going up in the air and catching contested passes. He ranked like in the 80s in college football in that stat. And he's had drop problems through a couple of years. The areas that he's actually maybe the only area that he's marked expertly well in is how much he generates yards after catch. And when you go back to like when Matt Harmon's breaking down all his college stuff, where did he say or have charted that Coleman had the most success? Beating zone.
Yep.
Soft zone. Go find a spot. Sit down in it.
Find your area and use that frame.
Yep.
Right?
And I think that is very different than the way he's been used. Yeah, the Shakir part of it, all of this is going to fall under the same umbrella of let's see if you can do it successfully in the regular season, because Shakir, I feel like Shakir has played long enough in the league and is lined up in different spots. There was the first 2 years where he was a little bit more diverse doing that, and he really has not had much of an ability to do anything down the field, especially playing from the outside. That's 4 years of that. Coleman, I've got 2 years, and I don't ever have him doing this one thing. I'd be more open to Coleman can do it from the inside than Shakir could do it from the outside. Mm-hmm. But if that ends up being true, then you have an overlap there, and of course there's issues. But right, Shakir had a couple plays. One he did turn a linebacker inside out for a big play, and the other one he beat a corner on man across the field. So he did make a couple of big plays too. So I was impressed with pretty much all of the receivers.
Yeah, it was nice to see them just getting open, receivers getting open down the field, and Khalil Shakir not catching strictly screen passes was pretty nice as well. Him actually being a little bit down the field, making some catches was pretty cool.
Don't think they ran a screen pass. Not with the starters, at least.
Not a lot of throws to the running backs either, which we heard through training camp was being more and more. But again, game plan wise, would they really do that in the preseason? Unlock that early? Who knows?
Well, they did run that toss play.
They did the sweeps
end
and
around
stuff.
to McCole Hardman.
But
is that the one you're talking
that
about?
one too. The toss play though, they ran a bunch of times against Carolina last year in the regular season.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting. The play that they had success with last year, they did it in the preseason. It's kind of like game planning, I guess. Your experience in the stadium, welcome. Would love to hear it. We'll go back to Matt here on his experience. What's up, Matt?
Hey, guys. Good morning. Thanks for take two here.
Sure thing.
So I was blown away. I thought the stadium was incredible. I hate saying it this way because I love Buffalo. I've been a Buffalo homer my entire life, but it doesn't feel like it's something you would see in our beautiful city. It feels like something you would see in Arizona or in Florida. The stadium itself is just really, really well put together. Obviously, it's fresh, it's new, and the thing that blew me away most was the sound. The acoustics in the stadium, when there's a big moment, I can't wait for the first opening game or for a playoff game or for a huge moment coming down to the fourth quarter. It's going to be loud and intimidating. You really felt like you were on top of the stadium. And the other thing that I thought was just incredible was the player experience all the way down at the field level. We were lucky enough to catch them coming off the field at halftime. I thought there was a glass wall. I thought there would be some sort of a partition in between us and the players running through, but it's just a simple waist-high glass or some sort of, I couldn't quite see it, but you were right there. Players are running right by, and I thought that was absolutely incredible that you get that level of intimacy with the players running by. So full marks for me. I thought it was an awesome day to see the stadium, the players, the game. I thought it was great.
Yeah, are you talking about the field level club or a different spot, Matt? Like when they come out of the tunnel and back into the tunnel?
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it. Yes, the field level club.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Matt, for the call. Yeah,
Thank you.
I saw a video of that, and it looked awesome. Players walking right by all the fans.
Yeah. I had my best buddy went for the first time down there, and he texted me that, like, this is it is incredible. And it far surpasses the experience in the old stadium. Mm-hmm. And it's everything you would want it to be. And, like, are there some issues? Absolutely. And, we've got now there's problems with the grass.
The grass, yeah.
Like, there are things
Grass
that will be
problems.
figured out, but it is amazing that it's there and that we have it and that it's ours. Like it's really something.
Right. Take the GR off of grass, and that's what one player was saying about it,
Yes,
at least, quoted
right.
saying about it. So, we'll see what happens there. I'm not entirely sure what was going on.
We'll get to the grass details in a little bit. There is a little bit about that. It's soft.
Yeah.
One player said it was soft.
A little too soft, yeah.
Yeah.
Sod, though, takes about a year from everything I was looking at last night to really, set in.
You were looking up sod.
Yeah, the roots aren't set 1,000% yet. So the longer that's going to sit there, the better it'll be because the roots are going to be more, I guess, rooted into the ground, if you will.
The tough part about that, though, is the opener's not in a year.
Sure.
Right.
It's in a month. Right. So...
Does your arborist friend have any advice for this?
Tips?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Tie the grass down to the... I don't know. They're probably already doing
Tie it down.
The grass down.
Yeah, just ideas.
Anything.
Previous to the 6:30 break, any idea is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Very true.
803-0550 is the phone number. If you're in the stadium Saturday, would love to hear from you. And we've got injuries to talk about as well. But all that about Keon Coleman, probably should mention, he did pick up a foot injury at the end of his time with the second team. He was out there with Kyle Allen and others. And that might be minor. We're not getting a lot of details on injuries right now, but we did get some from Connor McGovern. So more on injuries, other players that stood out. Love to hear from you on who stood out. I thought Deion Walker was incredible. We'll talk about him and more. Sal's coming up at 7 o'clock. More time for your phone calls. Coming back here. Jeremy's off this week. You welcome to the bullpen. Everyone in our YouTube chat today. Be tracking what's going on in there throughout the day. You got some trivia a little bit later on as well. So, a lot to get to. It's Jeremy and Joe. Thanks for listening here on WGR.
Thought we executed well today. Some things to clean up, just like anything else. But it was good to see our guys go make some plays today.
That's Bills quarterback Josh Allen. Happy Victory Monday as the Bills defeat the Panthers 29-14 in their first preseason outing. In Allen's time in the game, he went for 6 for 8, 111 yards and a touchdown. Ian Wheeler, the leading running back, 7 carries, 41 yards. DJ Moore, the leading receiver, just 3 receptions, but 61 yards. Keon Coleman caught the first touchdown, and Kenai Walker tallied an interception for the defense as well. Around the NFL, per ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Cowboys are expected to sign edge rusher Von Miller, formerly of the Commanders. Adam Schefter also reports that the Cardinals running back Jeremiah Love is dealing with a high ankle sprain. Colts coach Shane Steichen said he does not expect wide receiver Alec Pierce, dealing with an ankle injury, to resume practicing this week. And ESPN's Jeremy Fowler believes Browns coach Todd Monken could name his starter at some point after this coming Saturday's preseason game against the Bills. And former Major League pitcher Tommy John, the namesake behind the pioneering elbow surgery, passes away on Saturday at the age of 83. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Allen rolling right, pump fakes. Good pressure again by the Panthers. Allen keeping the play alive, and he's got Keon Coleman for a touchdown.
Keon Coleman, a touchdown in his first preseason game. Lots of time with the starters. He also was out there with the backups for a time. So there was that as well. Good morning. It's Jeremy and Joe. Jeremy's off this week. The Bills win 29-14 in the preseason opener. The first game-ish ever played at the new Highmark Stadium. I do have one pet peeve I want to get to before we get back to the game.
Okay.
Oh.
This is not just for the Bills. This is for everywhere in the NFL in the month of August. It was not the first interception at Highmark Stadium.
Oh, but it is.
It was not the first touchdown at Highmark Stadium.
Are they keeping stats for these games?
They're not saved though.
But they're not yet.
Go back and find preseason stats from 1972. They don't exist. Go back and find preseason stats from even the early 90s. They're either impossible to find or they're not out there. In 20 years, if you go back and find and look up, hey, what was the first interception at the new Bill Stadium? It's not going to be Kenai Walker, unless Kenai Walker has the first interception in week 2.
He might.
That would be cool.
That's not going to go down in history as the first interception at the new stadium, because guess what's going to happen in 1 month? When Davison Igbinosun picks off Jared Goff, what's everybody going to say that second?
The first pick in
That's
Highmark Stadium.
the first pick in Highmark Stadium history. What's going to happen when the first touchdown is scored against the Lions? There it is. That's the first touchdown ever scored. The same thing happens with rookies. And again, not just for the Bills, where Carson Beck, not a good example. Jeremiah Love.
There we go.
Is he a bad example too because he's hurt now?
He's got a high
he's
ankle
got a high
sprain.
ankle sprain.
Whatever. Like Jaden Daniels probably threw a touchdown in his first preseason game. And everywhere, people would have been like, oh, there's the first NFL touchdown for Jaden Daniels. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. In a month, you're going to be saying the same thing.
His mom will make sure you're saying that it's the first touchdown.
That's funny that he came to mind, probably because of all the memes that are being made about him.
Yeah.
Just
Deion Sanders only has 3 toes out of respect for Jaden Daniels is one I saw yesterday. Like, there's just some crazy ones out there.
A minor league baseball team, the Durham Bulls,
Yes.
had a tweet about how their mascot will only be giving out high 4s now in respect to Jaden Daniels.
Everyone's getting in on it. Even churches are getting in on it on Twitter.
Churches?
You know when that's going down. when everyone is able to pile on this.
What are churches saying about
I
it?
have no idea. I saw one tweet yesterday, though. I'll go back and find it.
Like the Vatican?
Do we need churches to be having, snarky social media accounts also? I don't know. It feels like all the teams have them. I don't know. Churches also.
The Mets stopped at 4 out of respect for Jaden Daniels. Actually, wait, every baseball team might have done it. The Guardians won by 5 because we're not scared of Jaden Daniels. They won 6-1. The Blue Jays won 4-1. Scored 4 to honor Jaden Daniels.
Has there ever been a more harmless PR nightmare? Like a guy that's done something that nobody's hurt, nothing, like he didn't commit a crime, but could you make yourself look like more of a loser?
Yeah.
It's a tough
Is
scene.
it possible? What are you doing? Oh.
The Orioles they hit a home run, 2-run home run when they had 4 runs. Went from 4 to 6 runs out of respect for Jaden Daniels.
It's too good. This is going to be
Phillies.
a thing that's going to go through the entire season.
Yeah.
1,000%.
I'm never going to stop thinking.
Bryson Stott hit a home run to make it 5-0 Phillies, and the Phillies just tweeted all caps, Bryson Stott will not cease nor desist.
Somebody call Josh Palmer.
I know, right?
Wow. I didn't realize everybody, just doing a quick search, I found all these. Did not realize that everybody was taking up for making fun of Jaden Daniels, but it's happening there.
He's on the quarterback series on Netflix, too.
Great.
This one?
Yeah, this one. There's 4 of them. He's one of them.
This probably will not come up because I believe it's only about last year, right? I watched like half of one episode and I couldn't stick with it.
Yeah.
Other things from Saturday is so Coleman might be number 1 for many. Is the other guy that most fans are going to want to be excited about this morning, Deion Walker?
Yeah. Especially after that photo that was published. Did you see that?
I did.
He looks like a shark, the shark from Nemo, just smiling as he's about to just take advantage of Bryce Young. It's crazy. It was amazing.
Yeah. He was towering over him.
Yeah.
Bryce Young is a small quarterback. Deion Walker is a monster defensive lineman.
Enormous.
It wasn't even just the sack that he had. It was multiple run plays that were blown up, and it was him playing at a position that the Bills didn't really address this offseason. Like nose tackle, big defensive tackle, one technique. They didn't really do it. And there was a bit of a mind, too, is that even Walker's best position, right?
Right.
But, man, he was unstoppable, I want to say, in that game against Carolina.
Yeah.
And he might be somebody that, even though he was a 4th-round pick, he's one of the guys I'm actually going to listen to. Oh, this guy, many people had him like as a 2nd-round guy, as a 1st-round guy. That was true.
Yes.
That was true of him. Like, it was a back problem that made him fall to the 4th round.
Yeah, 100%.
That was it. Otherwise, he probably, honestly, if he stayed healthy through Kentucky in college and then was healthy in the combine season, I think that's when he had it flare up again, he probably would have been a 1st-round pick or at least a 2nd. So you have a talent level there that is beyond where he was drafted, and it's showing up. There was a article, one of those series that ESPN does, Jeremy Fowler, during the offseason where they have, all the executives and scouts and coaches like vote on something. And one of them was looking around the league at every team's players under 25 years old. And one of the categories under that was blue chip talent. Who on your team, blue chip talent under the age of 25 years old? The Bills as a team overall, I think, ranked 29th on that list. They had one guy listed under blue chip, and it wasn't Cole Bishop. That would have been the guy I was expecting.
Same.
It was Walker.
Right.
Wasn't TJ Sanders, who went 2 rounds ahead of him. Sanders, by the way, was out there into the second half. So I don't know what that means for him. But Walker was the guy that, again, that's people in the league that view him as like, okay, blue chip level talent here.
Yeah.
And he was a monster on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, that is a frame that you if you get a guy that can be an average level technique and understanding of the game guy, that frame will carry him to being great. period. And if you get him to be anything above average in those areas, and he's got that frame, then you've got a real disruptor on your hands. And that's what he looks like to me. Like, he is, every time he's on the field and I see him, I'm watching him. Like, he could do something every single second he's out there because he's so huge, and he's physically dominant, and he's young. And, like, that's a guy, give me 3 years on that and, like, fully develop that body out. That's a scary player.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of guy that I see the Rams or the Eagles get their hands on, and I go, man, why didn't we do that? Mm-hmm. And they did. And I got to give him some credit for that because he looks awesome.
Yeah, the best play I think he honestly made wasn't even the sack. Anthony from Cover One was breaking down a bunch of his film on Twitter, and one of the clips I saw him share was a run stop where Walker's in the middle, Oliver and Rousseau are on his left, and I think it's Landon Jackson and Bradley Chubb are on his right. So he is anchoring. He's the middle of the defensive line there. And the left guard, like, his job is to get out to Walker and push him back. And, I mean, this left guard just has no possible chance here. Like, Walker just...
He's a bulldozer.
It's like he's not even affected by the guard being there. I'm just going to walk right into the backfield here, and I'm going to grab Jonathan Brooks 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
It's a combination of he's so strong, and he's quick, and he's that long that he gets hands on you first.
Yeah.
He's moving fast, and he's bigger than you. Like, good luck stopping him. You can't. It's a bad recipe for a lineman who is gonna, like, you're just gonna get overpowered by that guy a lot.
Right.
If he figures out how to use that early, like, he's gonna get a half a second where he's got his hands on you before you can get your hands on him. Mm-hmm. And if he could get to a spot where he figures out what to do with that half second, like, that's a guy that could be in the backfield every play. Yeah. Because of exactly, like, that could happen every time he's out there.
And I remember seeing the flashes of it last season in McDermott's defense, so different style, of course, but I thinking he's going to be a nightmare for teams in the future. And you're already seeing this. Again, it was against starters to start the game. I'll give him that, right? It wasn't all backups they were playing. But if this is becoming a more consistent thing throughout the rest of the preseason, and then you see it in week one, you can pretty much expect that, I would expect, on a regular basis.
David in Florida, before we hit the break. What's up, David?
Yeah, hey, good morning, fellas. First-time caller, long-time listener.
Thanks for calling.
First of all, just want to say the Bills overall looked good Saturday. I was impressed more than I thought I would be, especially on defense. But I do have a problem, that I see on the defense, and it's more of a shortage at the position, the linebacker position. The talent's there, but we have a really known history of injuries there. And I'm just wondering why Buffalo hasn't reached out to Bobby Wagner or Karake. That's been my concern there.
Yeah, thanks, David, for the call. I think a big reason why they have not reached out to Bobby Wagner at this point, who I think is still a very good player and is available, is that Caleb Elamzor is doing everything they want from him as a fourth-round rookie. If he looked like a guy that didn't appear to be capable of producing for them right away, I bet you they would have added. Or maybe it wouldn't even be Bobby Wagner, it would be Shaq Thompson. Or maybe it'd even be Matt Milano. But I think he is the guy that is fending off any veteran acquisition right now. Like, you don't have a need for it at the moment if you trust that the rookie he's got it on lockdown for you. Like, if I need to turn to somebody else that isn't Terrell Bernard or Dorian Williams, I have him. And if he had been looking like Eddie Ulofoshio was a fifth-round linebacker for the Bills who, like, never played. If he looked like him, maybe Bobby Wagner would be a Bill. But I think Elam Zor is the reason. So, yeah, we'll talk about linebacker with Sal because that was interesting to see who went out there first. Dorian Williams, Bernard, when Elam Zor came in, what he looked like. So, not saying linebacker is like a set-in-stone strength of the Bills. It definitely isn't. But it's him. He's the reason why they don't have a veteran. Another veteran. Sal coming up at 7 o'clock. See if we can find some more Jaden Daniels memes. I didn't realize how many good ones there were from the weekend. Everybody mocking him for suing? Cease and desist? Cease and desist isn't quite suing,
Cease
is it?
and desist is just,
All right.
let's pad this. Let's stop
He
this.
sent a cease and desist to LSU because he's mad that they're wearing number 5, and his mom is mad that they're wearing number 5. Number 5, giving it out. 803-0550 is the phone number. Bills beat the Panthers. More of it coming up here in WGR. The only place I've ever had any optimism about Coleman is, well, can he be a big slot? Because when he entered the league, there were a lot of smart people that believed if he does have a path to NFL success, that's the way it's going to happen. And the Bills have never put him in that position. He's been an X receiver. They said it the day he was drafted. Brandon Beane went to the podium and said he's going to play X for us. And he's played X for them. Yep. Big receiver, on the line, outside for 2 years with pretty modest success. And now, all right, I got a preseason game where they're moving him all around. He's in motion. He's the guy that's running the short underneath route, finding a soft spot in the zone. In sports, everybody loves the word and that culture, to me, least, would be my only place for Coleman optimism, is the role he was best suited for coming out of college. The Bills might finally be ready to give him a shot at.
Right. It's all true, and I'm very curious to see where they go with Coleman there. I am curious if this becomes a theme because you just hit another one. Shakir was on the outside making a play downfield, right? How much have we talked about the defense and how roles will shift, guys will be flexible, all of that, right? We've got offensive linemen that are going to play different positions. It feels like this is a theme under Joe Brady that we're going to be more ready to do different stuff. We want to be adaptable and be ready to pivot if we need to. And I think that feels to me like maybe the biggest departure from what the old sort of Sean McDermott era has been was very rigid and binary. Even in the style the defense played, it was if you're an edge rusher, don't get out of your lane. Keep everything on the rails. Know where you're going to be. Know where your guy's going to be. This now feels, and again, acknowledging that this is one preseason game here, but it feels to me like there is a lot more of we're going to throw a lot of stuff at you. You're going to have to do different jobs, and we're going to try to be more flexible in what we're trying to do. And listen, if that's going to be a theme or a thing that Brady really tries to enforce as a sort of ethos of this team now, I am all in on that because that is, I think, what good teams now do. They make you think and you don't know what you're about to see. And I think we are seeing signs that is happening here. And that, to me, is exciting on both sides of the ball.
Sal Capaccio coming up next. We'll take your phone calls as well. Davey, hang on hold. We'll get to you coming up in the next segment. Got to pull up at Sneaky Joe Sports. Which bill do we need to apply the preseason pledge to the most after Saturday? Moore, Walker, Coleman, Kanai Walker. 2 Walkers. Deion Walker, Kanai Walker. Let me know what you think. I think those are the 4. Had the best days. Other than Josh Allen. It would be nonsense, I think, to put him on there. But he looked good, too. Kyle Allen looked good. Talk about that with Sal. Because I was ready to come in on Monday and have a parade of, we need a new backup quarterback, and I'm not sure both guys didn't look good. Sal, when we come back here on WGR.
thought we executed well today. Some things to clean up, just like anything else. But it was good to see our guys go make some plays today.
Bills quarterback Josh Allen, it's Victory Monday as the Bills defeated the Panthers 29-14 in their first preseason outing. In Allen's time in the game, he went 6 for 8 for 111 yards and a touchdown. Ian Wheeler, the leading running back, 7 carries for 41 yards. DJ Moore, the leading receiver, 3 receptions, but for 61 yards. Keon Coleman caught the first touchdown, and Kenai Walker tallied an interception for the defense as well. Around the NFL, per ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Cowboys, they're expected to sign edge rusher Von Miller, formerly of the Commanders. Schefter also reports that the Cardinals running back Jeremiah Love is dealing with a high ankle sprain. Colts coach Shane Steichen said he does not expect wide receiver Alec Pierce dealing with the ankle injury to resume practicing this week. And ESPN's Jeremy Fowler believes Browns coach Todd Monken could name a starter at some point after Saturday's preseason game against the Bills. In other news, former Major League pitcher Tommy John, the namesake behind the pioneering elbow surgery, passed away on Saturday at the age of 83. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Sal Capaccio joins the show now on the Wester Hotline. Sal, what was the first shout song like in the stadium on Saturday? They did it, right? They must have.
Yeah. It was good. Well, it was. I'm trying to remember if it was after I don't think it was till after the score. I didn't pay attention to exactly if they did it before that though, Joe. I think it was after the first score. And, it was great to be inside the stadium on a perfect day. Really a great, gorgeous day in Orchard Park. All the talk that happened last week and the stuff that, was out there on social media, the negativity, the seats, all that kind of stuff. I think that there was a big sentiment from a lot of people to highlight how great it was. and we saw a lot of that. I'm not saying there weren't necessarily any problems with anybody, and anybody who has a problem absolutely should have it addressed. But I saw a lot of positive feedback from the stadium this past week.
Yeah, me too. It does sound like also those people's problems are being addressed, which I think helps that as well. But you're right. And that was a lot of people's first time in the stadium. Not everybody was at the scrimmage. The open practice hasn't happened yet. And, before we get to the game, Sal, me and Jeremy had talked about what shadows would be like on the field or in the stands. On the field, I don't think there was any all day, right?
I don't remember it being a problem. The thing that I remember, though, Joe, is when I got to the stadium, the press box is facing, at that time of day, the sun beating down on us. We're on that side. The Bills sideline has the sun right on you. Now, that's 1 o'clock in August. That could change, right? Because now it's not a East-West stadium, it's a North-South stadium. So, but as you know, it's not a true East-West for a sunrise and sunset. There's always angles. That's what I remember. And as the game went on, that changed as the game went on. So no, I don't think there was a problem there. Or an issue or anything just to notice. I think it's going to be interesting to watch over the months, over the years, how that changes based on what time of day a game is and what month the game is in, to be quite honest with you.
Right. How high is the sun in the sky might matter, too, in December versus September for how that's going to be. Yeah, I was looking for that, too. I was not there on Saturday, but my seats are on the same side that the press box is in, and that looked like the shadier side on Saturday as the game went on. But, right, we're all going to be learning about that together as time goes on. And then the only other thing that happened stadium-wise, Sal, was the grass, right? And there was a little bit of a story about that on Saturday. But I heard a clip from Dorian Williams talking about how even though the grass it got chewed up a little bit at times, and you might expect that because it's really the first game that's ever been played on it, that he's like, you still would much prefer this to turf.
Yeah, and then after the game, I know I posted a video. I was out down there doing some TV work, and behind us was a sign said, "Stay off the grass." Obviously, you don't want to be on there, but there were people on the grass who were fixing the divots. And it just struck me that, and I've seen that at other stadiums, obviously. It's not something we've ever seen here because the Bills played on turf. So they're replacing the divots right away, but that's what you get from natural grass. And I would say that it is the first game. It's going to get it's new. It's like when you wear a pair of sneakers for the first time, you get a couple scuffs on them, like, oh man, right? Mm-hmm. But that's to be expected. And then you get used to it a little bit more as you go. And, that grass has to be I would think it's got to be beaten up a little bit, for that to kind of not happen as much, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Sal Capaccio with us on the West Her Hotline. All right, Sal, let's get to the game. You have your arrow up, arrow down column on our website at WGR550.com, and there were a lot of arrow ups, which I think is representative of how the game went, right? Like, it was really overall a good day for the Bills on almost all fronts. They not only win the game, but there were a lot of individuals that looked really strong. Where do you want to start? Like, who to you was like the number one guy that jumps to your mind on who had a great day Saturday that people are talking about?
Well, I think that you could debate a few guys, but I think where we should start is what we saw from Josh Allen to DJ Moore, because that's the story of training camp. They've been so good together. DJ Moore's been so good, and really it carried over, right? I mean, DJ Moore was terrific. I mean, he was in limited action, had 3 catches for 61 yards. I mean, that's a day for a lot of people in a regular season. He did this in a couple of different series, and he was open. There was so much room for him to catch the ball. He was open, and Josh Allen was terrific throwing the ball. Josh had a close to perfect passer rating. I know it's a preseason game. Mm-hmm. I think 158 something is perfect. He was 156.2 because he was 6 for 8. 111 yards, a touchdown to Keon Coleman. And I think that's kind of the headline of what people wanted to see was DJ Moore. And then, of course, there was a scare on Moore's third catch. He gets hurt and comes off the field. Looks like he was hurting, I should say, comes off the field. And they looked at, it looked like his ankle, his lower left leg in some capacity. Athletic trainers were around him for a while. Josh got up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. Josh got up. He walked over to him and listened to his conversation with athletic trainers. And then, he looked like he was comfortable with what he was hearing. Athletic trainers got up and vacated the spot where Moore was. Moore then got up. He stood around with his teammates for the rest of the game. He never went in the locker room. He never went in the medical tent. So that's all good news. But I think that's where you start is with DJ Moore and Josh Allen.
Yeah. He was also always lining up on the outside, beating corners out there. They had an interesting combination a few times, Sal, and like who was out there with Moore, with the number ones. It did seem that Coleman was out there as much as anybody and was lining up everywhere. Like he was in the slot as much as he was outside. He was in motion, and he made a couple catches too. So, I don't know, Shakir, like you really could say the whole receiving group looked good on Saturday getting open.
For sure, and you want to see that. In fact, Joe, that's a really good point. I talked about this after the game on post-game. If you look at most Bills box scores last year and you take their top 4 receivers, right, it's going to almost definitely have like 2 or 3 running backs or tight ends. You're going to have 1 actual wideout in that group. Let me read you the Bills' top receivers in this game for the Bills. When it comes to receptions, Latu and Davis, yes, they were up there, of course. And I guess because this fourth quarter, Latu had a couple.
Quarter.
Then DJ Moore, Steven Gosnell, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Trent Sherfield. Like, the receivers are all right there. There's 5 receivers right there. I mean, now, I know it's preseason. I understand that. I think the point is that if the Bills can have receivers actually being their top guys, not having to find other alternative methods, that's great for this football team. And that's really kind of what happened. I know it's a preseason game. I understand that, but you're right. They're spreading around to the receivers, not just spreading it around to everybody. That's very important for this offense. And you're right about where they're lining up. Now, who knows it is preseason. Joe Brady could be just seeing how that looks. We don't know if they're going to use it like that. We don't know. He may go and say, I didn't really like the way Keon played in that spot, so we're not going to use him there. That's what preseason games are for. But I do think they're going to try to really mix up and match around, force you to kind of have to match up with them, I guess, and dictate what they want to do as far as those formations.
Right. Yeah, Josh Allen went 6 of 8. I think all 6 were to receivers. Actually, in fact, all 8 targets might have been to receivers, right? Because DJ Moore caught 3. Those all would have been from Josh. Shakir caught 2. Those would have been from Josh. And then the Coleman caught the touchdowns. There you go. That's 6. So Allen didn't throw a pass to a tight end or a running back. It would have only been the backups at that point. And on
and real quick, and I was looking at the point I was making. I was actually looking at the first half stats when I was talking about it during the game. It was halftime because Ray Davis was the only non-receiver in the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of receiving number catches 4.
Yeah.
And even in the top, he was only non-receiver in the top 6 in yards. So yeah, that was a big difference, especially with the starters.
And how did you feel about Josh in this game, Sal? Like, he, again, almost a perfect passer rating. I don't know if Joe Brady said anything about this after the game. I did not hear him post-game, but were a lot of fans holding their breath because, he looked amazing, but there were a couple of hits there that you probably were holding your breath for a second.
For sure. I mean, I would rather not see Josh not play, excuse me.
Yeah.
I'd rather not see Josh play. But if he's going to play, like, you do not want to see people. This is one of my arrows down that I did right, which is he was hit too much, he was grabbed too much, he was breathed on too much, to quite frankly, Joe. I mean, like, he is the franchise. You can't have him get hurt. And that's partly on Josh. It's preseason football. He has to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker. I saw some of the national analysis on that, like, hey, you're going to have Josh Allen out there. He's got to know it's preseason, dude, get rid of the football. And I don't disagree with that. I know you're trying to run your offense. He's trying to make plays. He wants to build that chemistry. But I don't need to see that again. And he was great. But that is something that if Josh Allen would have come off, and we were already holding our breath with DJ Moore, and we still don't know specifically on Moore, but let's hope he's okay. I don't need to see Josh Allen play a single snap again the rest of the preseason. I don't know what Joe Brady's plan is. He might do that. I'm not really sure. But I'm pretty sure most Bills fans are like, okay, you got it. He's 6 of 8. Get him out until you see Houston.
Sal Capaccio with us on the Wester Hotline. Sal, also on your arrow up and another story of the game, Deion Walker looked like someone the Panthers couldn't block for almost the entire time he was out there.
He's going to be a problem for offenses around the league. He was definitely a problem for the Panthers offense. I mean, penetrating their backfield, got down the line to make plays. He had 3 total tackles, a sack, a QB hurry, very limited time to do all that. He has shed some weight. He said he wanted to do that to be able to have more stamina throughout the game. And I think it's also helped his, believe it or not, his movement and athleticism. But he's already he moves great for a big guy, right? So for sure. And their interior of their line just could not handle him. And I don't know if that's it for things to come against other teams. But, if he's anywhere close to that on a consistent basis, I mean, that is going to be such a big benefit for the Bills. We've talked a lot, Joe, about the lack of star players on the Bills roster, and especially the lack of guys they've drafted who become star players. I think they have one here in Deion Walker. I think it's a kid they've drafted that is going to has a chance to be a star in this league.
Yeah, well, I mentioned in the first hour, one of those ESPN surveys from the offseason where they poll coaches and scouts or whatever, and under 25-year-old players, the Bills had one blue chip player that was listed, and it was Walker. That was listed. And remember, like, he would have been said about a lot of players, but if he didn't have the back injuries in college, he probably would have been a first or a second round pick. So there is a talent level that goes beyond the 4th round. And I don't know, like, it doesn't make me want Vita Vea any less, Sal, but I think it would be understandable if your takeaway after Saturday was, do we really need to go, balls to the wall to acquire Vita Vea? Because Walker is playing the nose position right now and just looked like their best defensive player.
No, that's right. I agree with you. Like, Vita Vea is a great player, but at what cost when you already have a guy who's young, who's on a rookie contract for a couple more years and could be dominant, right? And then you could evaluate that. It's nothing wrong with having 2 great players, but what's the compensation there that you have to give up? And you remember when that whole Vita Vea thing started, and there were people saying, well, would you give up Deion Walker? I think people would say, hell no right now, right? I mean, you don't want to do that. So, yeah, I just think that, you look at him, and you can start this defensive line with him. We've talked so much about Ed Oliver. Like, the defensive line this year, maybe that's the guy where we start to really highlight and talk about everything starting with him and what he's able to do and how the parts fit around him.
And really, Oliver, Sal, has he really ever played with a guy? If Walker can be a star and can be in the middle of the defense like that, can get after the passer and be a force against the run like he was against the Panthers, and really like he was as a rookie. I don't want to make it all about, oh, he just had a great preseason game, so we think he's going to be a great player. Like, we kind of been building towards this. And for Oliver, I wonder what it could do for him, because other than, like, there was the big year Jordan Phillips had, right? But I don't know that Oliver has ever played with somebody that has the potential that Walker has next to him.
Agreed. And he's had a lot of rotation next to him. The Bills have, as fans know, not just rotation during a game, but I mean like personnel throughout his career. There's been so many different defensive linemen in and out of the organization over the last, 8-9 years. There hasn't been that kind of consistency either. If you can get a couple of guys, not only Deion Walker, but TJ Sanders, Landon Jackson, like if these guys can kind of all grow together, that would only help as well.
Sal Capaccio with us on the West Her hotline. Depth pieces on the roster, Sal, big day for Kenai Walker. And where do you think we are with him right now? Like the 53-man roster battle, where he would slot in at corner. Do you feel like camp plus the preseason game that he is more likely than not to make the team at the moment?
I did a sort of rough draft 53-man roster yesterday for myself. I have him on the team. I have him making it over Toriano Pride. Now, maybe that's a little ambitious on my part right now. Toriano Pride is a drafted rookie. They like him. But Kenai Walker's just made plays. That play he made, he's made plays. I think he's earned a spot to possibly be on the roster, no doubt. But even if it's close, Joe, and they go, I don't know, we'd like to keep the drafted guy. The issue comes in where that play is played on every highlight reel in the country, and other teams see it. You release that guy, he could be picked up by somebody. And then you're like, well, you just had this guy who looked like he was really kind of going to be able to make the team. He made these plays, and all of a sudden you lost him for nothing. Like, he's going to make it tough on the Bills. I'll say that. He's going to make it very tough on the Bills. I think he's, as of right now, earned a spot on this team. And they are still looking for their fourth outside corner. And to be honest with you, we don't know about Max Harrison's injuries or hurt again. I thought he'd be back by now. It was something that Joe Brady at the end of training camp, remember, and in Rochester said, yeah, he's going to sit out. We're not too worried about it, but he still has not practiced yet. I mean, these guys are going to get opportunities, so you're going to have to keep maybe an extra outside corner. Maybe you keep 5 on the roster. I think Kenai Walker's on this team right now, and he just keeps making plays. He looks good. I asked him after the game about the play, the interception. It was interesting because he said it was something they saw on film. Now, that's not something you hear a lot in preseason. And I'm not saying the Bills' game plan. I don't think they did that. But I do think the Bills wanted to make sure they got off to a good start with a new head coach in a new stadium in front of their fans, and probably said, hey, let's just take a look at some of the things you might see this weekend, right? They're not going totally deep into a game plan necessarily, but give your guys an opportunity to see some things, and maybe you can make a play. And he did. And he took a risk there. And I said, what is the thought process of you as an undrafted free agent going, okay, if I take this risk and I lose on it, like, I could not make the team. And he's like, I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about I'm going to make a play because I'm going to make the team, right? That's the way he's thinking of it, and I loved it.
Yeah. That's interesting about the film comment. There might be some of that would be normal, but like you said, teams aren't game planning in the preseason. In fact, if a team did game plan, like, wouldn't the other coach be like, hey, dude, what the hell? Like we're supposed to have a preseason game here, and you're treating it like a regular season game, and now I lose by 40.
Right, and I also would say, Joe, on that note, I did think it was interesting. The Bills ran a lot of toss sweep. The same play they ran against Carolina last year.
I noticed that too.
For over 200 yards, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be successful. You want to run plays that work. You also want to run plays that you just want to see what happens. There's no doubt. I would think the Bills in this case wanted to make sure they gave their guys an opportunity in their new stadium with their new coach to go, hey, we're going to go out there and put our best foot forward and make sure that we start off right. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think they game plan necessarily, but according to Kenai Walker, he did see that play, and he recognized it, and good on him. He jumped it, and he was like, I'm going to make a play here.
Sal Capaccio with us. Sal, what about guys that were it was interesting to see like who was out there. We've seen position battles, whether that we talked a little bit about receiver. Coleman and Palmer were both out there. Coleman maybe a little more at the beginning, but there's also linebacker. There was left guard. There's even fullback. So what to you was interesting about Like, who was out there early, and also maybe who was out there late, like into the second half?
Like TJ Parker was out there late, right? I mean, like that's interesting to me, but are we thinking TJ Parker is like on some sort of bubble? I don't think so. But what are the numbers at that position, right? I mean, you're looking at some depth there, and how does that all shake out? He's fighting for playing time. So that's interesting to me. You have a guy like Mike Dana who was out there but making plays. Mike Dana had 2 sacks on the same series. He had a sack that started the series, a sack that ended the series. He's fighting for spots out there right now. Kenai Walker actually, Toriano Pride was there, I think, before him, and that makes sense. Kenai Walker was a little bit later. You couldn't gain much from the safety spot because you have a couple of guys that are hurt, both Bishop and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but I thought it was interesting, and I've said this for a little while now, DeMar Hamlin is like the third safety on this team, Joe. He's the guy. He's the guy that goes in first right now. Now for those guys, that's not counting Jalen Kilgore, who's more of a box safety, but DeMar feels like he's kind of firmly entrenched right now in that spot. Things could change, but that's the way it feels right now. Maybe and him and Geno Stone started. Maybe they're battling, and maybe Stone passes him, but I think DeMar is right now firmly right there. The other thing I noticed that was interesting is there was a bit of a rotation position-wise at linebacker because you had Dorian Williams, you had Terrell Bernard start at Mike, middle linebacker, Dorian Williams at, we'll call it Will or Jack, that you can call it either way at the inside linebacker spot. So you had then you had Caleb Elarms-Orr go to the Mike, and you had Terrell Bernard at the Jack spot, the Will. So that they're moving things around. Would you be stunned? I think at this point now, would we be stunned if game 1 against Houston, the linebackers are Bernard and Caleb Elarms-Orr, but it's not in the positions we thought they'd be? Whereas Bernard in the middle, Caleb Elarms-Orr as the weak side guy, the next to him. Could it be flipped? I'm just saying, I think that's a possibility.
Okay, that is interesting. And we've talked about Bernard and positioning a lot over the years. So, and he's done both, right, between the NFL and college. So
yes,
yeah, okay.
And it doesn't have to be because of Bernard. It could be because they feel better about Elarms-Orr being there, right? Like
right.
Everything's got to fit the right way. It could be because, hey, we know Bernard can do either. And I will tell you, they're very comfortable right now with kind of all their linebackers doing everything. But they have to figure out like where their strengths are highlighted, what they do best. And it wouldn't stun me if something like that happened. We'll see how things go. The other thing was left guard. They did rotate. It started off with Alec Anderson, then it was Austin Corbett. There's no real separation there. Cedric Van Pran-Granger and Lloyd Cushenberry, I think they're in a battle for the backup center job. And with Connor McGovern out, that is a true backup battle right now because they're both going to get time. I don't expect McGovern to be back before the regular season starts. So we'll get some updates on injuries as well as we go forward. No media today for the Bills. No practice. They're going to do a walkthrough. And then tomorrow will be Joe Brady and the open practice at the stadium.
The Barnes Firm Injury Report brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-million. Yes, Alan, injuries, there wasn't really much, right, because we had the Moore thing where he grabbed his ankle, but then he got up. You mentioned how he didn't even go to the medical tent. Coleman, there was a foot injury that I saw Joe Biscaglia tweeting about, but maybe that's not serious either. And then McGovern talked this weekend and said that he is week to week and that could go right up to the opener. And if that's true, then that center battle that you just talked about will be really interesting because there would be a chance that one of those guys plays.
Because I can't imagine they're keeping both on the roster. You're not keeping two. Unless McGovern missed the game. But, if McGovern's healthy, you're probably keeping one backup center. Now, because let's remember, you have Alec Anderson who can play center. And you have other guys on the team. So I don't think you'd use an extra roster spot on that. But we'll see where that goes. Skylar Bell, we got to figure out his injury still. He didn't play in this game.
Right.
The two safeties, Gardner-Johnson and Cole Bishop. These are guys who did not play, who could have played, who because of injury, I guess. Mitch Wisnowski, the punter. By the way, we never saw Tommy Doman punt the ball. They didn't punt.
Oh, yeah.
He did hold, and Tyler Bass missed a field goal. That was a story, but he also made all his other 5 kicks or 6 kicks, whatever it was. But he made those. Ty Johnson, I think the news is at least more positive on him than we thought initially when he went out in that red and blue practice a few weeks ago. We talked about Harrison. Michael Hoyt did not play. We know that he's, everything's going well there, but he did not play in this game. McGovern and then Tylon Grable also didn't play, who left practice late last week.
Okay. Sal Capaccio with us. Thank you, Sal. And tomorrow, so lay out the schedule for us because the Bills will be in Cleveland and there's joint practices coming.
Yes, one joint practice. So let me lay it out. So today, Nothing with the team today as far as any media. They're going to do a walkthrough, so no press conferences, anything like that, no practice to watch. Tomorrow is the open practice, the non-PSL first open practice, the one they created, August 18th. That's tomorrow. That's at, I believe, 8:30. Joe Brady will speak before that. And then, we'll get some updates on injuries, things like that. That's tomorrow inside the stadium. So, the public, you're going to see a lot of people there. And then Wednesday, nothing again, because that's a travel day for the team to Cleveland. Thursday, joint practice against the Browns in Cleveland. No official time on that yet. I believe it's going to be in the early afternoon, though, is what we're hearing. And then nothing on Friday, and then Saturday's the game. So you got off days pretty much Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Practice here on Tuesday, joint practice Thursday, game on Saturday.
Got it. Thank you, Sal.
You got it.
Sal Capaccio on the Western Hotline, and if you've seen any clip involving the Cleveland Browns in the first month of camp and in the preseason, they've one quarterback who cannot throw the football in Deshaun Watson, and they have another quarterback who throws the football way too far. Because you might have seen the Shedeur Sanders clip. Shedeur Sanders has a wide open receiver in their preseason game against Chicago. Wide open. And he put this ball, it must have been 20 yards over his head. So
It's unbelievable.
It's unreal.
Could get some lowlights from them. Listen, the Bills' defense, if there was ever a day to dominate a preseason game, it might be Saturday.
Gonna need that on Saturday.
Yeah, right.
803-0550 is the phone number. Who impressed you on Saturday against the Panthers, and who is really testing your preseason pledge early? I've got a three-way tie on this poll that I put up out of a few hundred votes. So there are a couple guys that Bills fans are thinking a lot about after Saturday. Also, your experience in the stadium, if you were there, what was the sound like? What was the sun like, depending on what side of the stadium you were on, and the shadows? If you have an obstructed view, like many do, was that better or was that worse than you were expecting or ready for? I saw a clip, Thad Brown talked to a few fans that have some of those seats, and there was a glare on the glass that was different than what you had at the scrimmage because of the sun. So there's a lot of things we're learning about the new stadium. 99% of them are good, but, we've got the grass thing now as well. The players thought the grass was a little soft, and some injuries too. So a lot to get to. We've got Dan Fates coming up at 9, so plenty of time for your phone calls between now and then. I've got some trivia coming up as well. And we are still on Aaron Donald watch, right? He's working out again.
He worked out again.
Are we getting into weird vibes, almost Hellebucky?
Hellebucky?
Are we getting to a point where this is weird now that this isn't happening?
Why would you need the second workout?
Right.
Or is he just...
Did you not like something in the first workout?
He's big on, from everything they're saying, he's big on making sure he's ready to come back.
Right.
So is this just, hey, if I'm going to work out, I'm going to work out with the team and be ready,
Yeah.
But could the team now be thinking, that was all fine and good, but then we saw you and we thought you were a little further past playing than we thought you
maybe.
were? I'm wondering. Why the second workout? Why would Donald think he needs a second workout? He's doing it on his own all the time, every day.
Right.
It's just a little weird, I thought.
I agree.
803-0550 is the phone number here in WGR. I think the more important thing from Coleman, and this is where, does this qualify for the preseason pledge? Because this isn't how good you did. This is, where did the coaching staff use you, and when did they use you? And that is often, if I'm looking for anything in the preseason ever, whether it's for the Bills or for its fantasy, whatever it is, I typically care more about when the guy's out there and where he is more than what's he actually doing in the plays. These teams are not game planning, although there was maybe a thought that the Bills did a little game planning, which would be interesting. Talk about that with Sal in a little bit. But teams are typically not game planning. You're going out there, you're running plays, and you're playing more on instinct. Coleman was used all over the formation. And he was out there from the jump. Like, Josh Allen is on the field, Keon Coleman is on the field. And I didn't have snap counts in front of me specific to when Allen was out there, but seemed like every play Allen was out there. Coleman was out there except for like one or two. And on top of that, Coleman's had one of the least diverse roles as a wide receiver in the last couple of years. There was a chart that was going around a couple of weeks ago about the routes you run and where you line up and how diverse is the job that you're being asked for. And Coleman was like the only guy in the way bottom left. Just, he runs the same couple of routes and he never lines up in a different spot. His rookie season, I remember him looking up that he had played like 7 total snaps in the slot. I think he might have played more than that on Saturday in the slot. Like, Coleman was being used in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
Thought we executed well today. Some things to clean up, just like anything else. But it was good to see our guys go make some plays today.
It's Bills quarterback Josh Allen. Happy Victory Monday as the Bills defeated the Panthers 29-14 in their first preseason outing. In Allen's time in the game, he went 6 for 8 for 111 yards and a touchdown. Ian Wheeler was the leading running back, 7 carries, 41 yards. DJ Moore, the leading receiver, 3 receptions, but for 61 yards. Keon Coleman caught the first touchdown, and Kenai Walker tallied an interception for the defense as well. Sal Capaccio has his arrow up, arrow down piece posted at our website as well, WGR550.com. Around the NFL, per ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Cowboys, they're expected to sign edge rusher Von Miller. Schefter also reports that the Cardinals running back Jeremiah Love dealing with a high ankle sprain. Colts coach Shane Steichen said he does not expect wide receiver Alec Pierce, dealing with the ankle injury, has been receiving injections as well, to resume practicing this week. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler believes Browns coach Todd Monken could name a starter at some point after Saturday's preseason game against the Bills for the Browns. And in other news, former Major League pitcher Tommy John, the namesake behind the pioneering elbow surgery, passed away over the weekend on Saturday at the age of 83. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet, with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
I thought he did a great job of communicating well with the offense and defensive staff and understanding what was going on in the game. And no doubt it's a change for him, wearing a lot of different hats on the sideline. And then on top of that, you got to worry about when do I challenge. So you got to have a lot of trust in a lot of people.
Josh Allen following the Bills' preseason victory, 29-14 over the Carolina Panthers. It's a preseason football Monday here on WGR. Get your phone calls in one moment. If you notice a rattle in your ducts or a rise in your heating and cooling bills, if you do, give Belknap a ring. 0% financing, cost of upgrading to a high-efficiency dual-fuel heating system is a breeze. Learn more at belknapheating.com. That's belknapheating.com. Back to your phone calls, 803-0550. If you were in the stadium, if you watched the game on TV and you got a thought on someone from on the field, or, again, being in the stands, what it was like, let me know. It is time to go back to the phones. Anthony in Charlotte's next. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, good morning, fellas.
Morning.
So the thing that's really concerning to me about the backup quarterback situation with behind Josh Allen, Kyle Allen, he was kind of concerning. The way he was on the field. With the football, throwing it. I don't feel like he's going to be the true number 2 backup quarterback. I feel like he'll be the 3rd string quarterback, and then Shane Buechele will end up being the 2nd string quarterback. I don't know what you guys think on that, but that's the way I feel about it. I feel like Shane Buechele did a better job than Kyle Allen.
Yeah. Thanks for the call. Kyle Allen had you want to say great game on Saturday? I mean, he went 14 of 16 throwing the ball. But 108 yards on 14 completions. That's not bad. Buechele took a couple more shots down the field. That's all. I think they both played well. It's not, for me, a day to run either of them out of town. For me, I've got enough career of Kyle Allen and of Shane Buechele to look at them as a combo and say, all right, whoever wins the job and whoever stays around on the practice squad, if that's your QB room, then fine. Because backup quarterback now is more about what do you do for the starter than what happens if something happens to the starter. Because I would tell you right now that if something happened to Josh Allen at some point during the year, they should sign or trade for somebody before they start Kyle Allen. But, what if your starting quarterback, this isn't just Allen, this would be anybody in the league. There is, what's my plan if my guy goes down for the year? Burrow gets hurt for a long period of time in Cincinnati. We got to go do something for the rest of the season. Go get Joe Flacco. There also is, what do you do if it's 2 games, 3 games, and you're in a division race, and I got to go 2-1 in those 3 games with my backup, or at least I just can't go 0-3. Do you have a guy that can get you through that? Because with Kyle Allen, I don't really believe the Bills do. If Allen ever, and, knock on wood, let's make sure we do that. It should be an automatic. That this never becomes a thing. It hasn't become a thing. Not yet. But if it ever did, I just don't have a lot of confidence that Kyle Allen is going to win football games for you. And you could lose a division or maybe even lose a playoff spot because, I went 0-3 in the games he had to play. I think there are probably a lot better backup quarterback ideas for performance reasons that are available out there right now than what the Bills have. But the Bills are treating backup quarterback like a lot of teams do, which is we're not going to worry about that. We're not going to think about that. If that day comes, we'll address it then. For now, we're just going to have the guys on our team that are going to be the best influence on Josh. And he likes them and maybe helps them in the film room and, working with them on a day-to-day basis. We're going to do that. And again, they look good on Saturday. So I would take the preseason pledge with those two, though. I've got a guy who's been a backup throughout his career in Kyle Allen that I did see check the ball down a lot on Saturday and would not be somebody after 7-8 years in the NFL that I would think is going to do much for me if he's got to play. And then I've got Shane Buechele, who's never really played, but he's been in the NFL for 5-6 years now and has never even been a number 2, really. So that's where you'd be with him. Just, why hasn't it happened yet? You're 28 years old. You're still third string, barely fighting for a second string spot. So that's where I'm at with backup quarterback. If something ever happened someday, I think you need to go get somebody else. Desmond and Kenmore is next. Hey, Desmond.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, man, I just wanted to say the new stadium, I've seen some mixed reviews online, at least on my perspective, though. I'm a bigger, fat guy, and these seats are nice and comfy. Go Bills. I'm very excited for the Moore and Allen connection, man. They look beautiful together.
Yeah, thanks for the call. They look great on Saturday. Yeah, 99% of the reviews in the stadium are positive. They should be. The stadium is beautiful, and it is everything you want for amenities, and the concourses are so much better and wider. Like, you have so many good things that are coming along with it.
That's one of the more positive things you hear.
The concourses?
The concourses and the seating, the room that people have sitting down now, comparatively to the old stadium.
I will say I did learn one thing at the scrimmage about the seats.
Okay.
That I think everybody should take note of if they haven't been in the stadium yet. They are roomy, and they are nice. I think somehow they were comfortable for me, and yet the bottom, like where your the seat part of the seat, the bottom of it, was kind of thin. So that combined with how steep the upper deck is,
right?
Climbing on the seat to get to the next row above. Like, hey, there are 5 people in between me and my seat, but there's nobody in the row below. What do you do at a sporting event? What do a lot of people do?
Jump a row. Yeah.
Go down a row, walk down, and I'll jump up. That's going to be more difficult at this stadium because I think the seat isn't really built for that, and it's a bigger step now.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we need to be talking about.
This is big.
This is huge.
For me, this is different because I'm so big, I can skip the seat step and just sort of bound over the top of everything.
Yeah.
But with these seats, they're bigger. I don't know if I'm going to be able. This matters for me. This is big.
I was uncomfortable doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big guy, and I thought,
big dude.
Is this gonna break?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Is this seat? I don't want to be the guy. Oh, Sneaky Joe goes to the stadium for the first time, breaks a seat instantly.
Snap some poor guy.
That would be terrible.
It didn't feel very. It was secure, but it was like
it wasn't stable necessarily for you. Like in your head,
well,
you weren't confident.
There's also no cushion on the seat. Although
Right.
you don't really have cushions anywhere in stadiums, do you?
No.
Unless you're in like the really premium seats. Yeah, just not a seat that I want to be standing on with all my weight.
Okay.
So
Understandable.
It's good to note.
that might be something that we don't have in this stadium, which might, for safety reasons, be better anyway.
Yeah, probably.
One thing that was fun was people talking about how the stadium looked empty to start the second half, like a little more empty, but it was just everyone hanging out in concourses, and you could actually go visit people on the other side of the stadium because there's no log jam. You're actually able to move around. So everyone was just in the concourses. You have the ledges to eat and drink. Like, I think that's great what they did there.
The pictures of like the shadow around the sun circle, I want to call it, like, that is mostly on the field and then into the far end, the non-lake side of the stadium. I'm really curious. We never really got simulations of that. It'd be cool if, like, the Bills had some tool that came out at some point where you could play around with, hey, this is my seat at 4 o'clock in November 16th.
The sun simulator.
A sundial
sort
of a situation.
Yeah, a sun simulator. We got Lindy's5.com out there. Right. How much harder would it be to build this?
You just have to get a 3D model of the stadium and
a sun simulator.
Put the sun in.
Lindy's 5 guy, by the way, keeps updating it, and there's awesome stuff on there now. It's
when it turned into the playoffs, like tracker one point.
It's a whole.
There's developments at Lindy's5.com.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. He sends me a DM once in a while. Like,
I'll have to check
hey,
this out.
check this out. It's very, very cool. Well done. Still.
Okay, yeah. I'm looking at. We got some baseball in here now.
Yeah, they got it all on there now. He's no joke. I gotta find the guy's name. Shout him out here.
It's got every team.
He's got them.
Yeah,
all.
Look at
He's
this.
Got it all going on. Yeah, Josh Rebnold on Twitter is the guy. He does it and always does a great job. So
45 days until the Buffalo Sabres season opens.
Yes.
There's even a pick the Bills section on Lindy's 5.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Good. Well, someone's got to do it.
Somebody has to.
803-0550 is the phone number if you got a thought or an experience from Saturday's win, Bills over the Panthers. Next up, Cleveland. It's Joe DiBiase. Jeremy's off this week here on WGR.
Portions of programming brought to you by Paul.
All right, so let's get to the game. You have your arrow up, arrow down column on our website at WGR550.com, and there were a lot of arrow ups, which I think is representative of how the game went, right? Like, it was really overall a good day for the Bills on almost all fronts. They not only win the game, but there were a lot of individuals that looked really strong. Where do you want to start? Like, who to you was like the number one guy that jumps to your mind on who had a great day Saturday that people are talking about?
Well, I think that you could debate a few guys, but I think where we should start is what we saw from Josh Allen to DJ Moore, because that's the story of training camp. They've been so good together. DJ Moore's been so good, and really it carried over, right? I mean, DJ Moore was terrific. I mean, he was in limited action, had 3 catches for 61 yards. I mean, that's a day for a lot of people in a regular season. He did this in a couple of different series, and he was open. There was so much room for him to catch the ball. He was open, and Josh Allen was terrific throwing the ball. Josh had a close to perfect passer rating. I know it's a preseason game. I think 158 something is perfect. He was 156.2 because he was 6 for 8, 111 yards, a touchdown to Keon Coleman. And I think that's kind of the headline of what people wanted to see was DJ Moore. And then, of course, there was a scare on Moore's third catch. He gets hurt and comes off the field. Looks like he was hurting, I should say, comes off the field. And they looked at, it looked like his ankle, his lower left leg in some capacity. Athletic trainers were around him for a while. Josh got up.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. Josh got up. He walked over to him and listened to his conversation with athletic trainers. And then, he looked like he was comfortable with what he was hearing. Athletic trainers got up and vacated the spot where Moore was. Moore then got up. He stood around with his teammates for the rest of the game. He never went in the locker room. He never went in the medical tent. So that's all good news. But I think that's where you start is with DJ Moore and Josh Allen.
If you're on hold, hang there. We'll get to you coming up in the 8 o'clock segment. Quickly before the break, though, did the substation claim another victim over the last few days? Because Christian McCaffrey has now mysteriously not been practicing for about a week. And all that we've heard is tightness for McCaffrey, who seemed to be the only remaining healthy 49er.
The electromagnetic frequencies have taken another.
How long was that ever going to last, though? It's McCaffrey. He's always hurt.
Last season, he was the pillar of consistency for them.
Right.
I am enjoying the electrical substation Twitter account.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I saw a quote from George Kittle on his on-field rehab. Quote, "I'm hitting numbers I need to hit. I'm pretty close." The substation quote tweeted, "We'll see."
Oh, no.
Oh, that's good.
Nick Bosa also not practicing.
Great.
For the Niners.
Apparently, Pablo Torre was doing some looking into this, and it's unfounded. It's not real.
He didn't.
Did he shut it down?
No, I don't think he shut it down though.
Oh,
I think he left the door
the bullpen
open.
was coming at me on Saturday because I said I think the door's still open.
Yeah, don't quote me on that because I didn't listen to the whole thing. I'm only like a small part of the way through it. But the vibe I got so far was that it's maybe the Niners were a little quick to say, "Oh, this is nothing."
Interesting.
Okay.
Let me listen to the whole thing before I give you a full recap on it, though. I'm not sure. If you're on hold, stay there. We'll get you coming up. What was your stadium experience like? I want to talk a little bit more about Deion Walker and what that could mean to the Vita Vea story, because there was a report this weekend that the Bills have called about Vita Vea. And then the guy who plays his position was incredible. So, Deion Walker versus Vita Vea? Talk about that next here on WGR. You have a talent level there that is beyond where he was drafted, and it's showing up. There was a article, one of those series that ESPN does, Jeremy Fowler, during the offseason, where they have, all the executives and scouts and coaches vote on something, and one of them was looking around the league at every team's players under 25 years old, and one of the categories under that was blue chip talent. Who on your team, blue chip talent under the age of 25 years old? The Bills as a team overall, I think, ranked 29th on that list. They had one guy listed under blue chip, and it wasn't Cole Bishop. That would have been the guy I was expecting.
Same.
It was Walker.
Right.
Wasn't TJ Sanders, who went 2 rounds ahead of him. Sanders, by the way, was out there into the second half. So I don't know what that means for him. But Walker was the guy that, again, that's people in the league that view him as okay, blue chip level talent here.
Yeah.
And he was a monster on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, that is a frame that you if you get a guy that can be an average level technique and understanding of the game guy, that frame will carry him to being great, period. And if you get him to be anything above average in those areas, and he's got that frame, then you've got a real disruptor on your hands. And that's what he looks like to me. He is, every time he's on the field and I see him, I'm watching him. He could do something every single second he's out there because he's so huge, and he's physically dominant, and he's young, and that's a guy. Give me 3 years on that, and fully develop that body out. That's a scary player. I that's the kind of guy that I see the Rams or the Eagles get their hands on, and I go, man, why didn't we do that? And they did. And I got to give them some credit for that.
Allen rolling right, pump fakes. Good pressure again by the Panthers. Allen keeping the play alive, and he's got Keon Coleman for a touchdown.
Happy Victory Monday. The Bills defeat the Panthers 29-14 in their first preseason outing. Allen's time in the game, he went 6 for 8, 111 yards and a touchdown. Ian Wheeler, the leading running back, with 7 carries for 41 yards. DJ Moore was the leading receiver with 3 receptions for 61 yards. And Keon Coleman caught the first touchdown, as you heard there. And Kenai Walker tallied the interception for the defense as well. Sal Capaccio has his arrow up, arrow down piece posted on our website as well, WGR550.com. Around the NFL, per ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Cowboys, they're expected to sign edge rusher Von Miller. Schefter also reports that the Cardinals running back Jeremiah Love is dealing with a high ankle sprain. Colts coach Shane Steichen said he does not expect wide receiver Alec Pierce, dealing with the ankle injury, to resume practicing this week. And ESPN's Jeremy Fowler believes Browns coach Todd Monken could name a starter at some point after Saturday's preseason game against the Bills. In other news, former Major League pitcher Tommy John, the namesake behind the pioneering elbow surgery, passed away on Saturday at the age of 83. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like he was a emerging stud last year, going back and obviously watching the tape with it. And, I mean, he's so mature. He's his size and his length and his versatility up front. Like a limited role today, you felt him out on the football field. And what that does for Ed Oliver, what that does for the other guys, I mean, that's huge. And, like I say all the time, we got to be able to stop the run. And a guy with his size and length and the versatility with it helps that.
Joe Brady. He is 1-0 in the preseason as a head coach, which, of course, we will not count as his first win as a head coach. The same way nothing that happened on Saturday is actually the first thing that happened at the stadium. Because the moment they play the Lions, everything then will be the first thing that happened at the stadium.
Didn't we have a whole conversation about what the first game even was? And
people got coins for the first preseason game being the first game.
I didn't see coins given out on Saturday. Ooh. No one had coins.
Okay, that might really hinder this argument now. At the old stadium,
the 70s. They didn't know what they were doing.
Right. They didn't have the sort of, well-defined things that we laid out last week.
They'd barely been to space yet.
We're the authority here. Been to space yet.
They had been to the moon by
I was going to say, I was doing the math there.
By that point, they had been to the moon.
Some people don't think so, but yes, they were. They had been.
They might have actually been back a few times also. Maybe they were like 2 or 3 moon trips in. Yeah, they had something.
They were in space.
Okay, they knew what to do with some things.
They weren't in deep space yet. That's just past the moon.
Are we sure of even that?
Listen, fantasy football didn't exist yet.
That's crazy.
Ooh. First fantasy football league?
Someone probably had a league. Sal's talked about a league that he had in the 80s where he used to write it down on paper, like from the newspaper stats.
You guys want to hear about the first fantasy football league according to
what year? What year are we talking?
1962.
Okay, so there was fantasy football?
Was that pre-moon? When did the moon landing happen?
69.
Yeah, okay. Pre-moon.
The Greater Oakland Professional Pigskin Prognosticators League.
What?
It's quite the league name.
GOPPPL.
Is it still going?
Let's start it back up. GOPPPL.
I think if I had a league like that, I would be passing my team down to my children.
What do you think the first overall pick in the world's first fantasy league was?
Are you asking me? I guess it's 806, at least not 630. I mean, you're asking me to name a football player from 1962?
I'm not really asking. I just really wanted to say the name.
Gale Sayers.
George Blanda.
Oh, that was, you know what? Gettable.
It was a little bit.
Gettable.
I know the name at least.
Is Jack Kemp wouldn't be up there in 62?
I don't think he was playing yet.
Yeah.
Or at least wasn't playing for the Bills.
Maybe not.
Chargers.
Wow, look at this picture of George Blanda. Looks like he's 90 years old.
Oh, yeah, and he's like 35. I think he's the guy, whenever you see on Twitter, like, this is aging in the NFL, 50 years ago versus now. Blanda is always used.
This helmet,
They always use Blanda.
this helmet is unbelievable.
Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to get this up on the screen.
Jack Kemp was on the Bills in 1962. He played like 3 games before winning the AFL championships later in the decade.
Deadline acquisition, maybe?
Potentially.
Andrew in Rochester is next up, was in the stadium on Saturday. Hey, Andrew.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
I don't have season tickets. My aunt and cousins do, and they've been sitting with the same people for 20 plus years, and they all got together to get on a Zoom and do the whole PSL and pick their seats, and I think that's absolutely wonderful, and it's so cool to see. I'm sure a lot of people did it, but just the little things that they did to the stadium, like walking, going up the escalator and seeing all those little footballs with every year and the records and the wins and the different colors of the teams that they beat. It was awesome, and I think the minority is overtaking what the majority of us feel when we walk in there. I mean, walking up to the stadium and seeing how big it is compared to walking to the old stadium and having something underground is awesome to see. But defensively, I thought speed was a huge noticeable difference. Guys getting to the ball, multiple hats on the ball and tackling, and not as much one-on-one as McDermott's defense. There was guys having to tackle in space, and one-on-one, that's tough in the NFL.
Yeah. Thanks, Andrew, for the call. They did look fast on Saturday. They have a lot more youth out there right now, but that would be an area where I would want to defend McDermott and say, weren't they starting that transition with him? He was the head coach when they drafted Max Hairston in the first round, who was a first-round corner because of his speed.
Mm-hmm.
He was the fastest player at the Combine in 2025. They drafted Cole Bishop the year prior, who was an athlete at safety. So Dorian Williams the year before, third-round pick. Dorian Williams, if he had one thing entering the league, it was the dude was faster. He ran a faster 40 time than I think most of the Bills wide receivers.
Right.
That's right.
Like a 4.4. So I do think they've been trying to get more athletic and faster. The problem has just been the players haven't been that great right away, and they've had to rely on players that are on the very end of their NFL journeys.
Yeah.
Like Poyer, who is not fast anymore,
Right.
and Matt Milano.
Trey White.
Guys with lots of injury history, too, that adds up. They've ended up being a slow defense when I think they probably have been trying to switch to a more athletic, fast defense, and now maybe that's all going to come together.
Yeah, wouldn't you say they wouldn't last year kind of be, if you didn't think about the transition in coaching staffs and looked at just the defense that they ran last year versus the defense that they ran in years past under McDermott, that was a very different unit, and there was scheme stuff that was different.
A lot more man coverage.
It felt like they were trying to do what they're doing now with McDermott last year in a lot of ways, and maybe it was just too little, too late, to where that it was. I know you're trying to do this thing, but we need to just start over here, and it's a lot of, I think, the same themes that we talked about that were surprising last year. Like, man, they're doing some sort of exotic rushes and they're blitzing more, and it was different last year. And I think that it feels to me like that's just going to continue down the road we already sort of started treading down last season. And that doesn't have to mean that it's not going to be better or not going to be different even more so or in some other ways. But I just think that there was a clear sort of step away from the classic McDermott defense last season. And I think even now you've heard him talk after being fired about like getting back in there and like getting back on the cutting edge of scheme and getting to a place where he wants to change up what he does a little bit. And I think that's probably because the league does that all the time, and that's where the Bills are.
He visited with the Rams, right? Like to
Right.
get a look at their defense. I mean, what a defense to look at that point, even with Myles Garrett, without Aaron Donald. But yeah, I think we're seeing what the progression potentially could have been even if McDermott stayed at this point. But they got rid of so many. I mean, look at all those guys who aren't on a roster yet.
Yeah,
that were starting on this defense last year. Like it was time for the flip entirely. I feel like,
which is why whenever it comes up, they're like, "Oh, hey, they could just bring Tre'Davious White back for more corner depth." I think the best case scenario for the Bills at corner is what's happening right now, where a young guy, Kenai Walker, game on Saturday, great job on the pick. He's had a good camp. He, by the way, like he's a little bit of an older rookie because he played 5 years in college. So 23 years old. I mean, some guys come in at like 25 these days.
Yeah.
So he's not like super old. But Louisville for a year, Oklahoma for 3 years, Arkansas for another year. So big programs. And he's bigger, 6'2", but he's got athleticism. I think you want in a defense where guys are going to be isolated more often, and you are playing even more man than last year. Like the Bills did play more man coverage with Sean McDermott last year than almost ever before, but you're still going to have more of it. You're going to have like 8 to 9% more of it, I would guess. That's where Denver lived last year. Denver, and how often they played man coverage, lived at about 9% more often they were doing it than what the Bills were doing it, how often the Bills were doing it with Sean McDermott. So you're going to do more of it, then bringing back an older corner that athletically doesn't have it the way he once did. And I think if there were plays last year that Tre'Davious White left out there that you were concerned about, and there weren't many. He had a great year, I thought, for what the expectation was especially. But I remember him getting burned multiple times by Jalen Waddle in man coverage early in the season. Wasn't the last play of his season where he freaked out and threw his helmet in anger, got the PI penalty? Wasn't he in man coverage?
I'd have to look at it, but it sounds right.
That's how I remember it.
even so, with or without man coverage, like
right,
that's showing his age and all of that, right?
Right. If you're doing more of it, I think I want the younger guys to come in and fill those spots. And that wouldn't just be for Trey White. That'd be for any veteran corner that's out there that's 30 years old. Marshawn Lattimore, Adoree Jackson just signed with Dallas this weekend. He's 31 years old. Like, I don't want to go into any of those guys.
No.
That's the position I'd like to say, just address it in-house and see what you get. If you got an undrafted rookie that had a good camp and a good preseason, just give him the job.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think they're at with Walker right now. Sal said it earlier, like, if the 53-man roster was today, he'd probably be on it and would be their fourth boundary corner. So I think they're more athletic. I think they're faster. And that would be how they would be better. Is schematically, you're different. Personnel-wise, you're different. But where you might be better than what you were a year ago is just straight athleticism. They should be better in that area. It'd be incredible if they weren't, given the amount of guys that aren't even in the league anymore.
Yeah,
That doesn't seem even like
not a high bar.
It's not even possible in my mind to be less athletic than they were on defense last year. It was just not a unit that had any of that.
Elam Zor also, like the difference between
him and
Shaq Thompson and Caleb Elam Zor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure Elam Zor will be a better player, but I should expect he will be more dangerous as a linebacker going sideline to sideline.
Yeah, he's in his prime athletically.
Back to the phones. Andy in a car is next. Hey, Andy.
What's up, fellas? Quick comment about the stadium. So, first time I was there in my seats, we're the first row in the 300 level, so really good seats, really good view. The problem is the ledge. It's only maybe about 2.5, 3 feet high, no wall, no barrier. Somebody will be going over that ledge, and it's going to be horrifying. Like even like phones, beers, whatever, can easily just slip away and just fall on the people below them. And it's like everywhere around the stadium, so it's not just our seats. So that's my one big concern about our seats.
Are your
I brought my
seats?
kids with me, and I just refused to let them stand the entire time.
Your seats were you said the first row behind it?
First row, yeah. So we're the first row in the 300 level. So yeah,
In the 300
against
level.
the barrier. So there's just like a 3-foot wall, but then there's just wires. So there's not even anything to block. You drop your phone, you stand up to celebrate a touchdown or whatever. If you don't like heights, not good seats for you.
Yeah.
I didn't stand.
Do you find that it is? What was your experience like? I guess I should ask about how the view is blocked. How blocked is it, and was it different for a game?
No, the view is not blocked. The view is absolutely gorgeous.
Okay.
Where we're sitting. We're sitting down, and you can see the whole field, and it's way better than last year, the old stadium.
Right.
But like I said, my concern, because if you think about it, when you're walking to your seats, you have people stand up, and you kind of got to walk sideways. Somebody hits you accidentally, falls, whatever, a play happens, and you get bumped. Man, I was crouching trying to get through my seats because I was just worried that you lose your balance or something, you're done.
Yeah. Thanks, Andy, for the call. That's not something I had heard about. That I had toured the stadium and been down in the 300 level. I did not go down there for the scrimmage.
I've seen the videos of what he's talking about.
Okay.
And it's right on in the 400s as well. It's wherever you're sitting right on that front end where the railing would be, right? Not where the glass is, where the stairs are or anything like that. This is just where that is.
Yep.
It is steep looking down that in this stadium, right? Because everything's more vertical than the old one. But it really is up to your knees when you stand up, right? So if someone is coming through the aisle, trips, anything like that, I see what he's talking. There is a little bit of a concern about that for sure. You got to be careful, very careful, because of how high up you are. And he's in the 300s. He was talking about the caller.
I think I found a picture of him. Yeah, it does look low.
Mm-hmm. There are parts of it where it is very tall, like in the middle in some areas, but then it goes low where people are sitting and everything like that.
Right, not block views and
right,
stuff.
Right, exactly.
That's a tough problem to solve.
Because if you go any higher, you're blocking view.
And then, we've already got enough people upset about that. If you're going to add more blocked views in, that's going to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, you don't want people falling off
the
concourse. That's a way bigger issue.
And that's priority one.
Yeah.
And there's no netting, like the top level at a golf driving range kind of netting like that. Right. I think that's what he's implying.
Okay.
That could be there, just kind of hanging underneath in case anyone does go over.
That net, the net at the driving range, that's not there to catch a person though.
Is it not?
It's for the golf balls.
Yeah.
I'm not talking. Wait, I'm talking the net, at the base of on the top level.
It extends out from where you're standing.
Yeah,
and it goes out 5 feet.
That can't be used to catch a person.
I doubt it.
I'm not saying that it couldn't stop someone, but I'm not sure.
Maybe a version of that's made specifically to catch a person.
Yeah, I don't know what the weight limits are on that net.
Just keep Kevlar rope. You're fine. But anyway. Yeah, I get what he's saying, though. I
always assumed that those nets were for
the golf
balls that would you hit one real bad and it sort of flies downward. That's a problem for the people below you.
That is that has to be what they're for.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they can't also serve as a protection if someone is being an idiot and somehow falls off the front of it. But I'm not sure. The stadium story is again. It will be a celebration throughout the entire season of having a brand new stadium that is it's got so many different amenities, so many things that are new and better than the last stadium that, again, I feel like the story of the obstructed views and why they are there, and beyond that, to me, what is the main controversy here, which is that if you dealt with a ticket rep from Legends that misled you, which we've heard a lot of stories about, that made you believe the rendering was not as bad as what you're going to experience in person, and then you bought that seat, spent thousands of dollars on it, and then you got to the stadium and you realized, oh, it is as bad as the rendering said. You could, in some cases, say straight up lied to me. That's a story. That deserves to be a story. But how long does that story go? It's not going to be the whole season.
No.
And again, I think you've heard some examples of fans that have said, yeah, the Bills offered me a chance to move my seat. And I can keep my season ticket.
Right.
And I'll move it to somewhere else. And there you go. Like, even that might not be ideal for that person because now you might have very limited options. But at least it is something that is a recognition of, yeah, like, we don't want to make people have to stay in a spot that they're unhappy with.
Right.
And some people are fine with it because they weren't misled, and that happened too. I think both happened. And it's hard to tell and gauge to what degree, one side was told this and the other side was told that. But we know that it's happening. It happened in both ways. And I have mentioned that I was specifically somebody that was told it wouldn't be that bad, and then it was that bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it did happen. But it's not, if you're someone that is like, I'm just sick of this story, and like I don't think it's a long-term thing. When they start playing football and those people get taken care of, I think it fades away. And like Saturday, I saw some of it. I mentioned Thad Brown did a video where he went around, and I appreciated him going and getting perspective from the fans that are sitting in those seats. And one thing that is new about that I did not think about, and I wonder how impacted I will be. Again, I'm in row 5. I'm not in row 1. So I don't think it will be much of a problem for me because I only have a portion of the field that is blocked. And not even blocked, it's glass.
Right.
But a couple of those fans that Thad talked to said there was a glare. It was a sunny day, and when the sun was on you, there was a glare on the glass. That is something you do not deal with in hockey. All the comparables to it's looking through the boards in hockey. Right. Yes, one thing you will not get in hockey because you are inside is the sun blinding that portion of the glass. And will that happen in large groves around the stadium? I don't know. But there were a couple of people that mentioned that were in the stands on Saturday. Like, I'm looking through the glass. Maybe they don't even have a problem looking through the glass. But I do when I'm being blinded and can't see the field.
Yeah.
That's
also so different than a hockey arena looking through glass. You're only looking through the glass in the lower bowl in the hockey arena. You're up above it in every other variation.
But there are a lot. I mean,
I guess I'm thinking strictly KeyBank Center,
right,
like our hockey
it's
arena.
Probably
a lot of the
10,000 seats are blocked off like that. Like,
sure.
It's a lot of seats.
But it's been normalized in hockey because we know why they're there, and we're used to it. And I also do think it almost makes it easier to experience when maybe the whole game is behind the glass versus here where it's just a small section of it and then there is a railing behind it. Again, I don't even think this is the biggest part of the problem. I think it just legitimately is, were you misled? That's it.
Yes. And
that's the whole controversy to me. I don't think it's controversial that they exist.
No.
I think there were concessions made. We talked to the architect last week about why they did it. I think the concourses is one of the best upgrades from the last stadium to this stadium. You needed to do this to have those concourses the way they are. And there is a consequence to it. We're seeing it. But you should have been upfront about that consequence.
Yes.
And then I don't think it would have been as big of a problem.
Right. No, should have gone overboard with the potential, hey, you might have a obstructed view kind of a thing and really kind of pad people's expectations from the start.
The operating procedure should be to oversell and ensure everybody understands what the blockage might be, what it will. But I think we all know that that's just not. There's too much money at stake for these people to take, for them, that risk. It's a risk to tell everybody explicitly and very clearly, obviously, you're going to have something in your way. You're not going to be able to see part of the field. You would lose people. And so they have a very good incentive to not make it that, clear about what's happening there. And that is, frankly, gross and horrible. And whoever that happened to, Sneaky you included, that is not cool. And they should fix that. However, whatever that is for everybody that happened to, it should be fixed. And that should they should be getting blowback for that. But like you said, Sneaky, they should not be getting blowback for those seats existing. Because that's just what it is now. Like that's how stadiums are built. And
we see the ones that are there not for football games, right? Like for concerts and stuff.
And that's fine. But that needs to be clear. And that's where I think, not that we all haven't said this a million times already, but that's where it's not okay. And that's where they made a mistake.
Sure.
Like, they did. They did something wrong.
And also there is, who should you be mad at if you're one of these people? Should you be mad at the Bills or should you be mad at Legends?
Yeah.
Or should you be mad at the Bills because Legends was, they partnered with them to do it. So you could say both, but.
Yeah, you're probably never going to get people to, like, oh, I know the company that built the stadium. Like, it's too hard. I'm going to be mad at the Bills because it's their stadium. It's just where people will go.
Yeah.
They're never going to be, I'm going to get mad at, this company that I don't know or recognize.
Quickly before the break, Dom and Clarence on the railings. Hey, Dom.
Hey, guys, I'm a Steelers fan in Buffalo, so you guys are a good break. I like listening to the stadium conversation.
Yeah.
I lived in Vegas for a while, and it is definitely, the caller before talking about the steepness in the glass, it's definitely more steep in Allegiant. But what they do is they have the ushers kind of stand at the bottom of the stairs, like when you come in to walk up to your seat, and they kind of like block like the glass area. So like, let's say you trip or something, like they're there, like it would be very hard for you to fall over. But like during the game, they obviously kind of get out of the way so you can see. And then during breaks, like when there's a lot of movement, like end of quarter, end of half, they stand there. So I think maybe operationally the Bills will probably do that eventually. Again, it's growing pains going into the stadium. And as far as the concourses, they definitely need to be the Bills are going to make so much more money on food and beverage because just the concourses are so wide. So you definitely needed that.
Yeah. Thanks, Don, for the call. Yeah, again, like the seats being empty in the second half of the game, there were a lot of fans just hanging out in the concourses. You can do that comfortably now. That did not exist before this season. There was no let's hang out outside section. You did not have that.
It almost reminds me of like a baseball stadium where you can stand up way higher up, like go and you get it. It's at top of mind because I was at PNC Park this weekend watching the Red Sox, and you could just see the field from everywhere and go watch. Like we watched 4 innings from up there, just because you're like, I don't feel like getting all the way back down to the seat. I'll just hang out up here. It's great. I can see the game anyways. I'm not that much further.
Yeah,
and it's comfortable up here. I can stand around. Big guy. The seat might be too small for me. I got to stand for a while. Like, that is a very nice thing to have. Meeting up with people, like it's huge. That will be a quality of life difference I think people won't fully appreciate until you're in there for a few games and you go like, oh, I can go, my buddy's in 305 and I'm in 320, but I want to go say what's up and we'll watch 2 drives together and just go back to our seats, and it's perfectly comfortable. We got a good view. It's awesome. Like that sounds like that's a major upgrade to me.
And I'm looking at Allegiant Stadium right now, and believe Dom was correct. It looks very similar, where there's a glass. That we actually found is a video of a fan banging on the glass. That is, again, I would say like a couple feet high, 3 feet high, maybe, in front of the first row. This fan, the only reason I found a video is this guy was, banging on it and it broke.
Right.
Of course.
But yeah, looking at this, like it's not something where I would be worried about people falling over. You'd have to really, it kind of looks like you could, but I think you'd really have to try.
Work at it.
I guess I'm thinking about the potential of intoxicated fans, like that
yes.
that's what adds the fall fear for me.
That's definitely, a
But
concern.
like the caller said, maybe ushers will be down there anyway, and it'll be better.
Yeah, I would expect that is a problem they would solve quickly.
Yeah, right.
Because that's not one that, at the base level, obviously safety matters, but they will get, that's a liability thing that they do not want any part of. So if that's going to be an issue, they will fix it.
Yep. Little things. In the grand scope of the stadium opening, these are all, I think, pretty minor. 803-0550 is the phone number. You got a thought on the stadium, your experience, or on the field? Didn't get to Deion Walker versus Vita Vea there. I do want to get to that because Mike Garafolo reported this weekend the Bills have called the Bucs about Vita Vea. And how that would add to a defensive line where he plays the same spot as Deion Walker would be really interesting. That when we come back here on WGR. You have a talent level there that is beyond where he was drafted, and it's showing up. There was a article, one of those series that ESPN does, Jeremy Fowler, during the offseason where they have, all the executives and scouts and coaches vote on something. And one of them was looking around the league at every team's players under 25 years old. And one of the categories under that was blue chip talent. Who on your team, blue chip talent under the age of 25 years old? The Bills as a team overall, I think, ranked 29th on that list. They had one guy listed under blue chip, and it wasn't Cole Bishop. That would have been the guy I was expecting.
Same.
It was Walker.
Right.
Wasn't TJ Sanders, who went 2 rounds ahead of him. Sanders, by the way, was out there into the second half.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what that means for him. But Walker was the guy that, again, that's people in the league that view him as okay, blue chip level talent here.
Yeah.
And he was a monster on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, that is a frame that you if you get a guy that can be an average level technique and understanding of the game guy, that frame will carry him to being great. Mm-hmm. Period. And if you get him to be anything above average in those areas and he's got that frame, then you've got a real disruptor on your hands. And that's what he looks like to me. He is, every time he's on the field and I see him, I'm watching him. He could do something every single second he's out there because he's so huge and he's physically dominant and he's young. And that's a guy, give me 3 years on that and fully develop that body out. That's a scary player.
Mm-hmm.
I that's the kind of guy that I see the Rams or the Eagles get their hands on and I go, man, why didn't we do that?
Mm-hmm.
And they did. And I got to give them some credit for that.
Allen rolling right, pump fakes. Good pressure again by the Panthers. Allen keeping the play alive, and he's got Keon Coleman for a touchdown.
Happy Victory Mondays. The Bills, they defeated the Panthers 29-14 in their first preseason outing. In Allen's time in the game, he went 6 for 8 for 111 yards and a touchdown. Ian Wheeler, the leading running back, 7 carries for 41 yards. DJ Moore, the leading receiver, with 3 receptions for 61 yards. Keon Coleman caught the first touchdown. Kenai Walker tallied an interception for the defense as well. Sal Capaccio has his arrow up, arrow down piece posted on our website as well, WGR550.com. Around the NFL, per ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Cowboys, they're expected to sign edge rusher Von Miller. Schefter reports also that the Cardinals running back Jeremiah Love is dealing with a high ankle sprain. Colts coach Shane Steichen said he does not expect wide receiver Alec Pierce, dealing with the ankle injury, to resume practicing at all this week. And ESPN's Jeremy Fowler believes Browns coach Todd Monken could name a starter at some point after Saturday's preseason game against the Buffalo Bills. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Bills defense looking good. 29-14 over Carolina. Javon Solomon, TJ Parker. The Bills in this game. Deion Walker with a sack, Parker with a sack, and there were 2 others by Mike Dana in the game, who is a veteran. See if he makes the team, because Von Miller is now on his way to Dallas. So that is that idea is over.
Did he really help himself with that? Make it seem like there
Well,
might
the
have been
posts?
some chatter going on with the posts and all that stuff, and Dallas swoops in and nabs
Maybe.
him?
That's what that's what Von does, right?
Yeah.
Posts on Instagram.
What every athlete's beginning to do now.
True.
But he
It's just
does
the way
it
to go.
to a level where he
He's a
maybe doesn't
yearner.
want you to, but
he likes to yearn. For,
He yearns for the time with
he's
the
good.
Bills.
He's good at making you think that something's about to happen.
He and Diggs.
Yes.
Diggs never really posts on Instagram though. He would tweet, right?
He posted a ton
no, he
on
would post.
Instagram.
No, you're
This
right,
summer
you're right.
was a
This
big,
was the big. He had
You're
that
right.
burner Instagram account
Yeah.
that he would just throw up a bunch of Bills highlights of the entire time
Yeah.
with the Commanders now.
Yeah.
right. Good fit.
He's wearing number 18, which I don't like.
Me
that
neither.
sucks.
Doesn't
Me
look
neither.
good.
No.
It's not a bad receiver number, just on him.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's 14 to me.
Once you are in the league long enough, I feel like you got to go lower on the number than higher on the number.
Mm-hmm.
Because he wore.
He wore 1 in Houston and then 8.
And that looked fine.
8 in New England last year.
I thought that looked good too. 18 though, it's like this is like when T.O. was trying to hang in the league and he wore a weird number for Seattle.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember what it was. But it's like you're just clinging to the end here.
Right.
We got to shut that down.
Diggs I think will still be good. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
don't like 18.
I might bet he gets 1,000 yards again this season.
Really?
I would. He's been on pace. Even the year he got injured, he was at 450 yards. He would have hit 1,000 if he continued at that pace.
I like that bet.
Who else is he throwing to?
Terry McLaurin, if he's healthy.
If he's ever going to be healthy.
So McLaurin, but Daniels, was it 2 years ago when he had the big rookie season?
2 years.
Zach Ertz caught 1 million passes.
He did.
That's true.
As the underneath, shorter to intermediate option. That's going to be Diggs now.
Right.
And probably a better version. I mean, no, not probably. He will definitely be a better version of what Zach Ertz was giving them for the last 2 years. 803-0550 is the phone number. If you got an experience from the stadium, would love to take your call. Keep rolling through it. Go to Kevin in Williamsville. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Good. Listen, you know how they have the Peace Bridge, in honor to the Peace Bridge and the broken table and everything?
Yep.
Well, the upper section of the new stadium is just a tribute to the oranges in the old Aud.
Because of how steep it is?
Because of how steep it is. You guys have never been in the old Aud, have you?
No, at least not that I remember.
I'm showing my age. I apologize. Talk
No.
to anybody that's been there. When you were in the upper section of the oranges and started walking down to your seat, that was so steep it seemed like you were going to fall over onto the ice.
Yeah.
Ask anybody that just came.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. We heard a lot of comparisons to the Aud when the pitch of the upper deck was introduced and we saw it for the first time. That was a comparable we heard a lot of. And it's very, very different, obviously, than Highmark Stadium and different than the arena. The arena's, I would not really consider the arena to be steep. Even when you're in, I guess when you get really high up there.
Yeah. Like up in the high 300s, they can look that way, but that's just.
When you're actually up there, though, it's not all that steep,
fine.
you know?
I think that's just because that's just how stadiums have to be constructed to not be absurd. You know, the footprint has to be somewhat reasonable, and if you don't have them stacked up high, you're going to either have not a lot of seats or really, really, really big footprints on your arena.
Bill in Baldwinsville's next. Hey, Bill.
Hi, I was just calling. When I was there the other day, they made you do a $30 deposit before you went into the concession areas. And there was no checkout.
Mm-hmm.
And I came home and looked at my bank account, and yesterday I still had a $30 deposit, and I only bought a Diet Pepsi. So I don't know if anybody else had that experience. And when I walked out, there was a guy at the area where you walk out. He didn't stop me or anything. So just I hadn't heard that from anybody else.
So thanks, Bill. My understanding of that is they did that for the preseason. I don't believe that will be taking place in the regular season, and you will get that back. I just guess I don't know how long that will take. I can't imagine it would take more than a couple days.
Maybe it's one business day in today's.
Maybe it's
year.
today.
Well, yes,
I bet that's what it is. I bet it's a business day, and they just need it. Like this morning at 10:30, I'll bet that you're going to get your $28 back, and you'll be fine. But that is a little.
There was a variant of this at KeyBank Center. When I went. I remember going to Game 2 for one of them. They'll take a hold on your card, and then you walk in, grab what you want, and the scanners are going to see what you pick up. All that. You're just getting watched on cameras the whole time while you're in there.
Yeah, what
it's
else
similar.
is new?
Right.
Yeah, that's going to be more normal. It's
kind of crazy.
Do it yourself, basically. 803-0550 is the phone number. Dan Fate's coming up at 9 o'clock. Got some trivia, some Bills defensive tackle trivia on relating to Deion Walker. See, like how good could he really be? The Bills at his position, they've had a couple guys who have had really good seasons rushing the passer. And I feel like what would you say right now Deion Walker's career high in sacks is going to be? Because I think there's a lot of excitement about him right now and a lot of hope that he'll be a star player for the Bills, a team that's been lacking stars. And maybe he'll be the next one. 803-0550 is the phone number. It's Jeremy and Joe here on WGR. I think the more important thing from Coleman, and this is where, does this qualify for the preseason pledge? Because this isn't how good you did. This is, where did the coaching staff use you? Hey, it's Sneaky Joe DiBiase here. You got to sync this.
And
that is often, if I'm looking for anything in the preseason ever, whether it's for the Bills or for it's fantasy, whatever it is, I typically care more about when the guy's out there and where he is more than what's he actually doing in the plays. These teams are not game planning, although there was maybe a thought that the Bills did a little game planning, which would be interesting. Talk about that with Sal in a little bit. But teams are typically not game planning. You're going out there, you're running plays, and you're playing more on instinct. Coleman was used all over the formation, and he was out there from the jump. Like Josh Allen is on the field, Keon Coleman is on the field. And I didn't have snap counts in front of me specific to when Allen was out there, but it seemed like every play Allen was out there. Coleman was out there except for like one or two. And on top of that, Coleman's had one of the least diverse roles as a wide receiver in the last couple of years. There was a chart that was going around a couple of weeks ago about the routes you run and where you line up and how diverse is the job that you're being asked for. And Coleman was like the only guy in the way bottom left. Just he runs the same couple of routes, and he never lines up in a different spot. His rookie season, I remember him looking up that he had played like 7 total snaps in the slot. I think he might have played more than that on Saturday in the slot. Like Coleman was being used in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Fate's coming up at 9 o'clock. Let's go back to the phones. It's Jeremy and Joe. Harold in Rochester is next. Hey, Harold.
Hey, guys. I was wondering if you could give us the details about tomorrow's practice, like when do the gates open, where do you park, that kind of stuff, do you know? And also I'm wondering why the Bills on the tush push don't put on a lineman like an Alec Anderson or even Walker behind Josh, because I don't think those guys are getting stopped. Because now that Reggie's gone, they need a better tush pusher.
Thanks, Harold, for the call. Quickly on the open practice, I saw you on hold during the break, and I went to look for details of the open practice, and I cannot find any. And I also see, like, on Bill's Reddit, there are some fans that are also wondering the same thing, and it might just be that you park. Joe, you found parking stuff, maybe?
$5 per parking. That's it. No locations or what time gates open, anything like that.
The Bills lots, probably $5 for parking, and I'd imagine all the ticket entrances are open. Whether there's like going to be concessions or not, though, I don't know. So I do know tomorrow at 8:30, you can get in there if you have a ticket, because they sold those. And maybe if you have a ticket, there's details that were sent along with that. But I don't have any for you, unfortunately, so I'm sorry about that. But the tush push sledder, right? Like the sledder, right? The sled pusher.
Yeah.
That was Gilliam.
Lost Reggie.
I don't know that you would want to make it a lineman.
I like Jackson Hawes in that spot.
Do they move their feet quick enough?
Yeah.
You also want to be low, right? Because you want to be pushing Josh from a lower angle.
Right.
I don't think you want to be taller than Josh.
I think fullback is the ideal position.
Mm-hmm.
It's just if you've got a guy that's enough of a
bulldozer.
Yeah, like
Just
we
a
heard
big boy.
Gilliam. People were talking about Gilliam's like the best athlete on the team last year. Like the Bills were saying that.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. Maybe it's just find a guy that you think has a propensity to just be good at that.
I mean, those offensive linemen, though, they are fast twitch. They are low. They're down.
Yeah.
You know, like to start. Like that might not be the worst.
Is there also some factor that's like, well, this guy's really like I don't want to put Dion back there because he's valuable. If I hurt him because he's pushing Josh's butt,
I got the guy.
I'm gonna be mad.
I got the guy.
Who's the guy?
It's got to be Jackson Hawes.
That's what I said. Yeah. It has
I
to
think
be.
Hawes works.
Isn't he kind of who you're talking about? Is maybe that Reggie Gilliam like he's a tight end, but
bigger, but yeah.
I could see Ray Davis also.
Sure.
That's not bad.
See, like I feel like Deion Walker wouldn't work because he's too tall.
It's too big. Yeah, too big.
Yeah, and he would probably crush vertebrae when he leans hands on Allen's
I
back.
want Hawes number 1, Ray Davis number 2. Those are my two guys. I think they could also just have the fullback do it if Ben Van Samaren's going to make the team.
Yeah.
And he was out there with the first team. Dan Fates, when we come back, on what he saw on the field. He was down on the field. The grass being talked about a little bit too. Dan, when we return here at WGR.
Happy Victory Mondays. The Bills, they defeated the Panthers 29-14, their first outing of the preseason. In Allen's time in the game, he went 6 for 8, 111 yards and a touchdown. Ian Wheeler was the leading running back, 7 carries, 41 yards. And DJ Moore was the leading receiver with 3 receptions for 61 yards. Keon Coleman caught the first touchdown, and Kenai Walker tallied an interception for the defense as well. Sal Capaccio has his arrow up, arrow down piece posted on our website, WGR550.com. Around the NFL, per ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Cowboys, they're expected to sign edge rusher Von Miller, formerly of the Commanders. Schefter also reports that Cardinals running back Jeremiah Love is dealing with a high ankle sprain. Colts coach Shane Steichen said he does not expect wide receiver Alec Pierce, dealing with the ankle injury, to resume practicing this week. And ESPN's Jeremy Fowler believes Browns coach Todd Monken could name a starter at some point after Sunday's preseason game against the Bills. In other news, former Major League pitcher Tommy John, the namesake behind the pioneering elbow surgery, passed away on Saturday at the age of 83. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Jeremy White and
Bills win their preseason opener 29-14. Good morning. Welcome into the week. Bills and Browns next Saturday, and we'll look back on the Carolina game, your stadium experience as well. Jeremy's off this week. It's humid out. If you've been outside yet, you know it is like how high? Can you go 100%? Can you go above 100%?
Is in that water?
Yeah, at that point you're swimming. You're in a body of water.
It's my assumption.
I think that's just 100%.
That sounds like that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, once in a while.
Well,
yeah, we need rain to equalize this quick.
Yeah, it's
nasty. Was planning on the fair today. Might do that tomorrow because
probably
we might get some of that.
Fair tomorrow seems like a way better plan.
Looking back on the Bills-Panthers game on the Western Hotline, Dan Fates now joins us. 13 Wham in Rochester, Buffalo Plus podcast, which you guys are doing with Micah Hyde now as well. How's that been, Dan, with having Micah along?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Mike has been great. That was a huge get. His perspective, I think a lot of people, especially around here, think of him as a Buffalo Bill. In our first podcast, we were catching up with him. He's like, I still think of myself in wearing number 23 for the Buffalo Bills. So his perspective on things just really, really cool. We talked about the preseason, how much he hated it, and that's how most vets think of it, which I thought was very topical. He goes, he was a 5th-round pick coming out of Iowa, and he's like, my first preseason game, I trained like it was the Super Bowl, and he goes, I thought too much. He goes, after that, just get me to week 1 healthy. So for the most part, it was pretty good to see that out of the Bills on Saturday.
Yeah, right. That's the preseason for Josh Allen. We're not making any determination about how good he is or DJ Moore even for a preseason. Who, though, I guess you kind of said it where Micah said, mid-round picks, guys that are just arriving in the league, rookies, young players that have something to prove. Those are the guys to really watch for in the preseason, Dan. And I feel like we did get a lot of positive stories of players that fit that description from Saturday.
Yeah, the biggest positive story is something that I've been a fan of over the last, since maybe day 3 of camp was Kenai Walker. And to see him make that play and get that interception, not only was it a great play, and I get it, Kenny Pickett pretty much threw it right in between his 4 and 1, but to see the reaction afterwards, the play, and then I was just kind of filming him on the sidelines, And every single player, from C.J. Gardner-Johnson to Christian Benford to training staff members, all going up to him and doing handshakes long after when Frank Gore Jr. ran in a touchdown about 5 minutes later. Like, to see that, and again, I think about Micah being like, I don't care about the preseason. This was probably one of the best moments of Kenai Walker's life. Having an interception in the NFL game. The first interception at Highmark Stadium. He was asked about it afterwards. He said he had no idea, didn't think of that. He's like, that's really cool. That's going to be remembered forever. And the aggressiveness that he played with. I love his size. Like, he reminds me of the Jamarcus Ingram skill set with more upside. When you watch him go through defensive back drills at training camp like I have, he doesn't look 6'2", because he doesn't move like a 6'2" person. Like, he moves like he's 5'11". Really fluid hips, and to see him make that play and be aggressive, I don't think that, some people were going, oh, well, now he's going to make the 53-man roster. I think he's going to compete for some playing time. I mean, I think he's clearly the fourth cornerback on the depth chart, and who knows in Jim Leonard's scheme what the, style is going to be. But, Brandon Beane said you can never have too many corners that can play. I just like seeing what Kenai Walker put out there on Saturday.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that rare, I feel like. The Bills, he's undrafted, but Christian Benford played right away in week 1 as a 6th-round rookie, and last year Dorian Strong played right away as a 6th-round rookie. I guess that also, though, would come down to what's going on ahead of him at corner, Dan. And Hairston being out is one thing. Igbinosun, as you would expect, was in there first. Sure. And I don't know how that seems to be going between camp and the preseason game. Like, we're not really hearing a lot about him, which I guess could be a good thing, but what's been your perspective on corner ahead of Walker?
Yeah, IGB's a dog. And, I think that part of that rubs wide receivers the wrong way. Him and Josh Palmer have been in a lot of good one-on-one battles. They seem to be lining up when they're going one-on-ones when they were here back in Rochester. And they got into some pushing and shoving a couple times. Look, he's grabby. Like, that's the MO from him coming out of Ohio State, was the holding, the pass interference, the flags. But he's not afraid. Like, he's not intimidated. The one time he's grabbing Josh Palmer, Palmer kind of throws the football at him, they push and shove. 2 minutes later, they're going again, and it's a deep route, and IGB goes step for step. Now, again, do you want to look at that as, is that a good sign for IGB shutting down a pretty good NFL wide receiver, or do you see that on the Josh Palmer side going, he can't separate from a rookie corner? However you want to look at it, he's been competitive, and physically he is gifted. He's not as, bendy and fluid and raw speed like I see with Kenai Walker, but he is fearless. Like, he just seems like he has some of that dog in him. He's got good size. We'll have to see if he can put it all together, and how many flags does he warrant, as the preseason. And I mean, he's going to get playing time. It's just a matter of how much as the regular season gets going.
Dan Fates from Buffalo Plus is with us. How big of a performance did you see that being for Deion Walker? I mean, that position the Bills did not really address in the offseason. Nose tackle, we kind of were waiting for them. And it is funny that there was a report this weekend about the Bills and Vita Vea, and then Deion Walker just goes out at the same position and looked like Vita Vea.
Yeah, I was so high on Deion Walker last year, really liked his size, and I think it gets lost into the perception that this defense just got bowled over and marched on all the time, that you forget there were still bright spots in that defense. Christian Benford, Cole Bishop, Deion Walker, his size. And people think maybe when you just see his size that he's just a guy that eats blocks or double teams. That's not it. I always view the makeup of his game is much more similar to Ed Oliver. He's a penetrator. I know it sounds funny because they couldn't be different body types playing that position, but when Deion Walker's making a difference, he's pushing that pile back, he's pushing the line back, he's getting in there. So to see him make the impact, Joe, to me, in both the running game with tackles for a loss and the sack, which is affecting the passing game, that to me was like, okay, now there were times last year that Deion Walker was getting pushed back 5-10 yards down the field, in the red zone, and that was he's a rookie. Understanding all of that, I was impressed to see him affect the game on two different levels. If he could be good, Joe, if he could be the piece that, when they're previewing the Bills game on Sunday night and going, man, look at what Deanne Walker's done this season, emerging star, and they're showing his name in some graphics when they're talking about the Bills defense, what that could be for Jim Leonard and Joe Brady and Josh Allen.
Yeah, right. I mean, the defensive line, we always focus on edge for not getting after the passer, especially in these big, important games. But it's not like they've ever had – Oliver was supposed to be a dominant guy up the middle, and he's been good. But, right, they have not – that position's on the hook for this too. Like, they have not been a unit that has really showed up in these playoff games pushing pockets back. Like, they've been just as much of a problem, I would say, as the defensive ends have been.
And, Joe, I think about it when you give Osiris Torrance that contract. And I get it. Tackles get all of the love, just like you said, the edge rushers, because you're affecting the quarterback. But you ask quarterbacks, and you talk to really smart people around the league, the biggest way that you can affect the quarterback is right in their face. Tom Brady hated it. All the greats hate it. Josh Allen can step up. Josh Allen can escape around the edge. But when you get pressure right in your face, right off the snap, it's why the guards are starting to get paid. It's why if you're a really good defensive tackle, Milton Williams, you're going to get a handsome paycheck. And if Deanne Walker could be somebody like that, where you're going, you're going to have to pay this guy, that's a great problem to have and would really make life a lot easier for everybody on the defensive line in front of him. And to see him penetrate right there, I thought was a great sign.
Dan Fates with us on the Western Hotline. Offensively, Dan, pretty big day for the receiving group overall. Yeah. I mean, that was, as advertised, the Allen to DJ Moore connection in that game, and I think we're hoping we're in the clear now on the injury. It looked like he might have picked up on that last throw, but, man, he was, I mean, on some of those throws, he was wide open.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical, and again, I try not to get we were talking about in the podcast before the game where I said, like, I'm making the solemn oath that I'm not going to overreact to the preseason, good or bad. I remember the Pittsburgh game a few years ago when they couldn't do anything. Pittsburgh was great. They marched all up and down the field, couldn't do anything, offensively or defensively. And we asked Micah Hyde about that, and he goes, they schemed for us. Like, they treated it like it was a game, and we didn't. So it was overreacting. And that made me think about that going into this game. It was great to see DJ Moore and Josh Allen do that on the field against a team. Like, I was a little bit worried about what DJ Moore had left in his tank. He has been everything the Bills could have hoped for and then some so far at training camp. Joe, it has been Diggs-esque, where it was that training camp when Josh and Diggs got together, and it was not only the safety blanket of, I don't know what I got, I'll just throw it, it's a catch, it's 8 yards, you're moving on. But the big plays on top of it that DJ Moore has brought to this offense so far at training camp, all of that stuff has been it's been automatic. Like, if he's thrown the ball to number 2, it just doesn't touch the ground. So to see that, again, I don't know what Carolina was scheming. I don't know what their game plan was. But it was nice to see a guy go, have 3 catches, have 61 yards, be consistently open, and to get down the field. Yeah, that was better to see than not, right?
It was. I'm now thinking, though, it's interesting that Micah told that story about Pittsburgh, and was it Kenai Walker who mentioned that he seen something on film when he was talking about the interception? I wonder to what extent the Bills did that against the Panthers, and to what extent that happens in the league, right? Like, now I'm thinking, remember the Ravens had that 8-year streak of winning in the preseason?
Years. 24 games in a row.
Yeah, was that just because Harbaugh was scheming for the preseason and most coaches don't?
Yeah, and so many times we hear, and that's where it's really cool to get Micah's perspective now as the former player, because they don't want to give too much to the media in the moment. Like, we just want them to go out there and play. We just want them to be free, rely on instincts. And then you have Micah being like, dude, they schemed us like it was, a playoff game. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we were just going out there trying to get loose and get ready, and they're playing like it's a playoff game. So that's where I try not to get too worked up, good or bad, about the preseason. Like, it was nice to see Kyle Allen complete passes. He's had a rough training camp. He looks pretty good. So to see DJ Moore and Khalil Shakir get down the field, maybe if Carolina was scheming, they're like, I didn't know that Khalil Shakir was able to run 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Like, and all of a sudden he gets open. So it is tricky to try and balance preseason expectations with results. You know, it was good to see Keon Coleman do a scramble drill. Josh felt like it was the first time that he could get hit, and it was almost like he wanted to get hit. The way that he was not afraid to, you know, not throwing the football away and stiff-arming linemen, again, like it's a playoff game, was a little bit frightening, but these guys are just wired differently. Micah, you know, emphasized again, like you have to have a psycho mentality to play football. And I think sometimes that gets lost. And to see some of the guys there in the preseason game was like, yeah, these guys are psychos. Yeah, this is it.
All the more reason that I would not like to see them play Allen again in the
100%
in the Cleveland game. Like didn't you see all you need to see? Like they were sharp. He got it on the same page with his receivers that you want to see him get on the same page with. Like, all right, shut it down because we don't need you falling into the back of Spencer Brown again.
Yeah, I was team bubble wrap before they said that the starters were going to play. I thought defensively it was more important. And again, maybe they did do a little bit of scheming. Maybe they did do a little bit of game plan because Jim Leonard wanted to simulate how that would go heading into the regular season. Maybe he did go over a little bit of film. Maybe that helped Kenai Walker. But I wanted the defense to get some reps because there's so much new that, you know, you kind of want to iron some of those kinks out. Offensively, this is still Joe Brady's offense. It's still Josh Allen. Like, yeah, I know you're trying to figure out left guard, but besides that, I am team bubble wrap everybody, get them to Houston for week 1.
Yep. On that, is there anything you didn't like that you saw from the Bills or some individual on Saturday?
I still haven't seen much of the flashes out of that, you know, the second-year guys. I know Landon Jackson, sniffed out a screen. I thought it was weird that he, started the game in the first series and then was playing in the third quarter. Now, Mike was talking about it on the podcast that we did after the game. Like, maybe they just want to see him get snaps. Maybe they just want to see him on the field. But, TJ Sanders, TJ Parker, I thought had a few nice moments. Caleb Elarms-Orr, who I've been, head over heels with his play at training camp. I'm filming on the sidelines and I'm, just shooting him for a play. And, the play goes the other way. I didn't really notice him all that much. So I'm still looking for some of those guys from last year's rookie class to make an impact. It felt like last year was a lost year for TJ Sanders, a lost year for Landon Jackson, somewhat of a lost year for Max Harrison. I want to see if it's a fresh start for them. New defense, new defensive coordinator, new scheme, new system. And again, it's one preseason game, but even throughout training camp, it's been kind of ho-hum. They haven't really stood out to me in some of those moments.
Lastly, Dan, what was it like in the stadium? Your impression of a game, how the atmosphere was, the grass too. I don't know if you were standing on the grass at any point, right? Because it's turf outside the grass part of it.
Did you see Tim's article?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so I can confirm Tim's article. I was talking to a Bills player during the game because the field looked like it was peeling up like paint. And I was like, is this – and again, we don't film a ton of games on grass. There aren't a ton of grass fields, it feels like, around the NFL. And when I've shot 60-plus games over my 10 years at Highmark Stadium. So I guess I was just kind of going, is this what it's supposed to do? Like, is this normal? And I don't think it is. I think there needs to be some kinks worked out. And I was even mentioning it because Tyler Bass missed a field goal. The grass was lumpy at times at places. And I almost give Tyler Bass a pass to, okay, I know he's kicked there at the practice. I know he's probably kicked there pregame. But when you're in the third or fourth quarter and the field's chewed up, and I'm not talking about like a divot like you hit a 9-iron off, the middle of the fairway, Joe. I'm talking about there were craters that like staff and players and referees were coming out to fill them and to like relay down some of the sod. That was slightly concerning for me, where I was like, I get it. It's softer. Is it supposed to give that way for safety? Is that too much of a give? Is that too soft? I thought, I really thought Tim's article was kind of confirming to me and to one of the players that I talked to, because I was like, this seems less than ideal.
Right.
Outside of that, the stadium's awesome. And again, I'm just giving you the media perspective from the workroom to our entryway to our tunnels to all of that, the lighting. You know, the Bills sideline ends up being in the shade most of the second half as the opposing sideline is in the sun. All of that stuff I thought was great. And again, I understand the obstructed views. I will say this about the scoreboards.
Mm-hmm.
The scoreboards are a good size, Joe, but they put 67% of it is covered with either a scoreboard or an ad during the play.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you just had the whole video board be the video of the play, I think it'd be awesome. I think they're a fine size. But then you have the ends cut off 2/3, and I'm going, yeah, that's a small monitor now because of what you've turned it into.
Right. I thought the same thing when I was at the scrimmage, and I don't know that I remember an ad, although maybe there was one, but it was, right, the space that's being dedicated to other things. I have the score on one side, and then I've got like stats on the other side, and right now is the game part of the scoreboard even half of it? Like, it might not even be half of it.
That's where I was like looking at it, and I'm going, like, when it's all black, I'm going, that's a good size video board. But then there's an ad, then there's the out-of-town score, then there's the stats, then there's the down and distance, then there's the time, and I'm going, we don't need all of that all of the time while the play's going on. That's my one critique, I guess, about the video boards. But all in all, I thought it's a sweet stadium. I really enjoy it. It's such an upgrade, and it was pretty cool. It felt a little bit like a road game. Just going into the stadium, and I filmed Josh Allen so many times at the old Highmark Stadium, you kind of get used to like what is behind him and what's through the lens of my camera. It felt a little different, but it was, again, you get a 33-yard gain to DJ Moore, and the place is going nuts, and Josh scrambling hits Keon Coleman. It was cool.
Yeah. With the press boxes, you guys also get a pretty good sense of like the steepness of the stadium, I'd imagine, up there.
Yeah, way higher up. And the windows can open. So actually this press box, you can actually hear some of the atmosphere and ambiance where it doesn't feel as sterile for the press box. Really cool.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan, for the time, and we'll chat soon.
Appreciate it, Joe. Thanks for having me on.
Check out Buffalo Plus, Dan, Mike, Jenna, and they've got Micah Hyde, of course, as well. You can follow him on Twitter at Dan Fates. You can find the link for it there at Buffalo Plus as well. Sal has tweeted out, we had a caller in the last segment about the details for tomorrow's open practice, and I could not find any, but Sal's got it. Tomorrow, the practice will begin at 8:30 at Highmark Stadium. 5:30, parking lots will open, so 3 hours before. At 6:30, gates, ticketing entries, and concessions will open. So, if you're going tomorrow and you're like, am I eating breakfast there? You will have concessions available. Don't know if everything will be open, but you'll have something at the very least that'll be open for you tomorrow. I wonder how full it'll be tomorrow. It's a Tuesday morning at 8:30 in the morning. I mean, I thought they sold out of tickets, though, very quickly. But I guess I don't know if they made every ticket available or if it's just the lower bowl. I don't know what that will be. All I remember, though, is that they went quick the morning that they were made available. So we'll see what we get tomorrow. That will be going on while we're on the air. So,
are you doing a show from the parking lot? Is that what's going to happen here?
Why the parking lot? Why don't we sneak down into the...
Sneak down in there?
Why not?
Get into the stands somewhere.
How could we manage that even?
Put sunglasses on Joe. Have him wear his Trey McBride jersey so no one thinks twice.
Right.
That
just
seems
to
like
see the
that
stadium.
it would be standing out and drawing attention.
Yeah.
That actually would be doing the opposite of what you want because, hey, what's that guy in a Trey McBride jersey doing at a Bills practice?
Would anyone think it's Sneaky Joe, though? I don't think so.
I mean, how many people have a Trey McBride jersey in the area?
I think the fact that you wore it last week would make
everybody that just dress like Trevor Lawrence again. You'll slip right through.
Listen, I wore teal one day on accident, and they won the game. If they lost the game, maybe I'd be more like, okay, fine, I jinxed them. Sorry. They won. They won the game. Wasn't there another one?
Yeah, you dressed
by accident.
Was it Boston colors or something like that? I want to say.
Oh yeah, maybe. That sounds familiar.
I'm looking.
Did I wear yellow? I don't even think I have anything that's yellow. When they played the Bruins.
That might be right.
It might be. I feel like there was another NFL one, though. We got to look back. We got to find this.
I'm watching the video now again, and this is the greatest piece of content I ever created for this station. Is the clip of
the
you
side by side?
Yeah, the side by side of you and
Trevor
Lawrence. It's like it's the same. It's not just the teal sweatshirt. It's the teal sweatshirt and the same black hat.
Yes,
like it's a Sabres hat, but you've got a black hat on. And it's
listen,
just
all I did was
time.
I jinxed the Jaguars, is what happened, and then the Bills won. So you're welcome, everybody.
Yeah. Did you do it the next week with the Broncos? Did we make it a bit after that?
That might be what it was.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe that because they won.
Well, they lost that game. Though,
yeah,
so.
but then
right.
they lost that, and that kind of ended it. Maybe.
You can't blame me for that one because they should have won that game.
That's true.
The ref blew it.
The ref.
Yeah,
so
right.
17.
Or did you dress as a referee? I remember black and white. I don't know. Maybe this is just a Mandela effect here.
Yeah,
we gotta find the hard facts
crossing
now.
our wires here.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, tomorrow again 5:30 for parking lots opening if you're going, 6:30 for concessions and ticket gates opening, and then 8:30 for practice. And we'll keep you updated as it's going on. Be like a live training camp practice. We will not get to see many more practices because they're not at Fisher at this point. So we'll see what we get tomorrow. And then joint practice on Thursday against the Browns, and then they play Saturday against the Browns. And I'm seeing a lot of talk on ESPN this morning about how bad the quarterback battle is between Watson and Shedeur Sanders. And I think it sounds like they're going to start Watson. And I think that comes right from ownership. Ownership paid that guy an insane amount of money, and they want return on their investment. And instead, what they're going to get is likely further embarrassment because he looks like he cannot throw the ball anymore, and I'm imagining his career is got to be over here in short order. 803-0550 is the phone number. Your experience from Saturday, and I got some trivia when we come back. Some defensive tackle trivia when we return. You have a talent level there that is beyond where he was drafted, and it's showing up. There was a article, one of those series that ESPN does, Jeremy Fowler, during the offseason where they have, all the executives and scouts and coaches vote on something, and one of them was looking around the league at every team's players under 25 years old, and one of the categories under that was blue chip talent. Who on your team, blue chip talent under the age of 25 years old? The Bills as a team overall, I think, ranked 29th on that list. They had one guy listed under blue chip, and it wasn't Cole Bishop. That would have been the guy I was expecting.
Same.
It was Walker.
Right.
Wasn't TJ Sanders, who went 2 rounds ahead of him. Sanders, by the way, was out there into the second half.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what that means for him. But Walker was the guy that, again, that's people in the league that view him as okay, blue chip level talent here.
Yeah.
And he was a monster on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, that is a frame that you if you get a guy that can be an average level technique and understanding of the game guy, that frame will carry him to being great, period. And if you get him to be anything above average in those areas and he's got that frame, then you've got a real disruptor on your hands. And that's what he looks like to me. He is, every time he's on the field and I see him, I'm watching him. He could do something every single second he's out there because he's so huge and he's physically dominant and he's young. And that's a guy, give me 3 years on that and fully develop that body out,
yeah,
that's a scary player.
Mm-hmm.
I that's the kind of guy that I see the Rams or the Eagles get their hands on, and I go, man, why didn't we do that?
Mm-hmm.
And they did. And I got to give them some credit for that.
I think the more important thing from Coleman, and this is where, does this qualify for the preseason pledge? Because this isn't how good you did. This is, where did the coaching staff use you, and when did they use you? And that is often, if I'm looking for anything in the preseason ever, whether it's for the Bills or for its fantasy, whatever it is, I typically care more about when the guy's out there and where he is more than what's he actually doing in the plays. These teams are not game planning, although there was maybe a thought that the Bills did a little game planning, which would be interesting. Talk about that with Sal in a little bit. But teams are typically not game planning. You're going out there, you're running plays, and you're playing more on instinct. Coleman was used all over the formation, and he was out there from the jump. Like, Josh Allen is on the field, Keon Coleman is on the field. And I didn't have snap counts in front of me specific to when Allen was out there, but it seemed like every play Allen was out there. Coleman was out there except for like one or two. And on top of that, Coleman's had one of the least diverse roles as a wide receiver in the last couple of years. There was a chart that was going around a couple of weeks ago about the routes you run and where you line up and how diverse is the job that you're being asked for. And Coleman was like the only guy in the way bottom left. Just, he runs the same couple of routes and he never lines up in a different spot. His rookie season, I remember him looking up that he had played like 7 total snaps in the slot. I think he might have played more than that on Saturday in the slot. Like, Coleman was being used in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
Or that he is better than Shador. I wasn't sure.
Oh, I don't think I threw in there that he's better than Shador. I'm not sure I went that far, but I appreciate you trying to trap me in that.
I'm not.
In defense of the reporter there, I think the reporter didn't do what he was accusing him of.
No, he didn't.
It sounded like he said, "Do you think Watson is better than you thought he was?"
Yeah, he didn't mention anything about.
He was asking for clarification.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Wait, I just want to get this right. What did you say?"
Yeah, he's not pressing him up, missing the coach's picture.
Tried
What
to
are we
get
doing?
me, man. You tried to get me.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
I think you maybe just got freaked out because you don't have a quarterback that can throw a football.
Yeah,
which is worthy of freaking out about.
Yeah, I guess so. In your first season,
I would say.
Now I'm starting to turn the other way on Todd Monken. Like, he's so honest that I actually appreciate it because you don't get that with NFL head coaches. It also makes me think even further, he will not last long.
Yeah, it's to a fault at this point. Like,
but I like it. I think it's fun.
I totally think it's that he already knows. Like, I'm not just.
But then again, like Aaron Glenn is getting a second chance.
I know.
You know?
But,
Maybe-
thinking, like, I'm just going to have fun with this.
Maybe the honesty will buy me some, maybe there's some way that it helps me.
Mhm.
And, nobody's tried this before, so let me do it.
When you're inheriting that team,
yeah, why not?
What are you really expected to do in year one?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we talked about. It's not like Joe Brady inheriting the Super Bowl contender Bills. This is Todd Monken inheriting one of the worst teams in the league. He's not going to turn it around in one season with a quarterback that was overpaid and is washed apparently
And
right now.
the one thing the Browns had a couple of years ago, which is why they were able to make the playoffs with like a Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
They had one of the best offensive lines in football. Look at any of these offensive line rankings going into the season. They now have one of the worst offensive lines in football. So you have a bad quarterback in front of a bad line. The receivers might be good. Like Denzel Boston is getting rave reviews, and so is Concepcion. But, I mean, it's not going to matter.
You can't throw the ball.
If they have no time to get open because the line can't block and neither quarterback is good with pressure.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Shedeur takes a billion sacks, doesn't he?
Yes.
He holds on to that ball like it's glued to his hand.
And Watson has been the same way the last couple of years.
He's always kind of been that. He's play extender. He was great at it for a while.
Well, he's already talking about an extension in Cleveland, so.
That was tough.
Good God.
Want some trivia?
Yes.
Yes.
We're talking a lot about Deion Walker today. Deion Walker had only one sack last year, which I was surprised that it was only one. He had a lot of tackles for loss, but only the one sack. There were 10 defensive tackles under Sean McDermott that had more than one sack. Can you name 7 of them?
Not even asking for the full list. I appreciate that.
Some are going to be really tough.
Had more than how many again?
Just
Sorry.
one.
Just one. Just
more than one.
Had
Jordan Phillips.
Sure.
Correct. He had 14 and a half, and I believe 9 and a half came in 1 year.
Wow.
Whoa.
What a year for Jordan Phillips that was.
2019, he had 9.5 sacks.
Okay.
And he had only 4 in all the others.
Mario Addison getting on that action at any point?
Not a defensive tackle.
No, that's right.
Harrison Phillips.
Correct.
Harrison Phillips.
1.5.
Okay.
That is more than one.
Yeah.
How about that? 4 years with the Bills, he only had 1.5 sacks.
I mean, Ed Oliver.
Ed Oliver, number 1 with 30,
Mm-hmm.
as you would expect. I have to look. I think he might be getting near the
Tim Settle.
The top of the list in sacks for the position. I mean, Kyle Williams is going to be higher. Tim Settle is correct with 2. So Tim Settle had 2 sacks with the Bills.
Yeah. He went on to kind of light it up.
He had in 2 seasons, he had 2 total sacks. The next year in Houston, he had 5.
Yeah. I remember he was causing a problem for the Bills a little bit in Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Yeah, he did. He made.
And we were like,
nice
"Where was
plays.
this when you were on the Bills?"
Right. Thanks, dude. How about
Okay.
Daquan Jones here?
It's a good one.
How many sacks would you bet Daquan Jones had with the Bills?
5.
He was here for 4 years.
5 sacks.
I'll go 7.
10.
Oh, double-digit sacks.
10 sacks. He's 3rd on this list.
I'm going to see if this guy's a defensive tackle before
He is another Bill that was a starter last year that is not on a team, I think.
Right.
I don't believe he is on a team.
Quentin Jefferson, a name here?
That is a name.
Did he have a sack?
He had
That's the question.
4.
Okay.
How about Star Latulele?
Star Latulele.
He might not eat.
For all those millions of dollars in 4 years with the Bills, had 5 sacks.
Okay.
In 43 games.
That's a tough
one. That's not great.
He was one of my least favorite signings they ever made.
Yeah.
Because he just was a run plugger.
Wasn't it?
And that's fine. You need a guy like that. You can find guys like that. He was
a remember some Panthers we missed, by the way.
He was one of the biggest non-threats rushing the passer I've ever seen, and he would give up on plays.
They just stand there.
Quarterbacks would be running around the pocket. I remember Kyle Williams. I remember a video of Kyle Williams at 35, 36, end of his career. He is booking it, chasing a quarterback around the field, and Latulele is just standing there.
Yeah, yeah.
It was infuriating.
That's the worst.
He took a year off also, remember?
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, that is right.
He did get the 5 sacks, though. So you're correct there.
Started with Tula.
How about the name you just said, Kyle Williams?
Kyle Williams had 8.
He said it twice. We should have picked up on it on the first time.
Oh, Puna Ford.
No.
Oh.
Didn't get a sack?
1 sack.
Oh, he tied it.
Okay, he tied it.
You have 2 more guys. If you could get both, I don't think you're getting both. There's one name here you could get. There's another that there's just no chance.
Oh, I had one a few minutes ago that.
What? Can you give us a year? Is there a hint or something without giving it away?
The one that's gettable?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. 2020 to 2021. And he is going to be remembered for one play where he forced a fumble to win a game.
Oh.
Man, just the defensive tackle trivia. Vernon
You're doing
Butler?
good. No, but man.
Oh, that's
what
a good
name.
one.
Vernon Butler. He did not have a sack in 24 games with the Bills.
Justin Zimmer.
Bang.
Way to go, Owen.
Yes.
Justin Zimmer.
Number 61. Punched it out from Cam.
Right?
Cam Newton.
That's
Cam
right.
Newton. Yeah, it
The
was
Patriots were driving. I think maybe they needed a touchdown to win. Newton took off, and I think Zimmer, he punched it out,
Yeah,
if I have that right.
Yeah.
And they won.
Who's the one we're not going to get? Do we have a chance here?
I don't even know how to get you to, other than like what his name rhymes with. 2017, he began his career with the Eagles for 4 years. This is the one I was going to give you no matter what. No, there's just no way.
Yeah.
Cedric Thornton.
No,
No
never
way.
had a chance.
Yeah, no way.
Never a prayer. Sorry, Cedric.
Players tied with Deion Walker for sacks. This is only since 2017. Marcel Darius.
I was about to. That was one. When you said 2017, that might have been my one guess.
He had 1 sack with Sean McDermott as the head coach, and that was it.
Then he got
Linval
booted.
Joseph, Eli Anku,
Oh, that's a name.
Corey Legit, Adolphus Washington, Zion Logue.
Zion Logue.
That's only half a sack for him.
Yeah, I'm ready for Deion to be like their best defensive player.
Yeah.
What's his career high in sacks going to be in a season?
That is a number I like. I'm not thinking he's going to be like a 14 sack tackle.
I'd say 11.
You think? Do you think he'll get to double digits?
Double
ever?
digits.
I think
is,
he hit
think,
double digits.
A line like that. That's the question to me: is does he get 10?
Over under 10.5?
I put it to 9.5.
9.5?
I like double digits is for a defensive a big defensive tackle.
Nose
like that.
tackle even.
Like not right. Yeah, nose tackle too. Good point. Like that's not a position that you're getting the most opportunity to get in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a guy that you can be great at that position and not even really get in there.
Yeah.
And
I like 9.5. I think double digits is a good bet.
Yeah.
Like Vita Vea, for example, is one of the best nose tackles in the league and has been for years. His career high in sacks is 7.
Right.
Dexter Lawrence, who is also a nose tackle. He can do both. But nose tackle that I think when he got traded, I remember a list of the nose tackles in the league and like quarterback pressures, and Lawrence was by far number 1, almost lapping the rest of the field.
Yes.
His career high is 9.
Yep.
Wow.
So maybe asking double digits
It's a lot.
for
Maybe 7.5?
Walker, given where he's going to play, is unfair.
Yeah.
7.5 maybe.
Yeah, like he could be an all-pro nose tackle, defensive tackle, and not get to 10 sacks.
Agreed.
100%.
100%. Yeah. I just don't. It's not the production numbers raw won't be there. I don't think.
Like
but he could be their most impactful defender.
Right.
And like that could happen. He could be their best player in 7 games and get 2 sacks.
Yeah, right.
And just be a mutant that just disrupts. And I am.
He'll play the part in Oliver getting double digit sacks and all
I need
that,
somebody
right?
to like inject me with some preseason pledge serum or something because like I'm all in on him right now. I just last year I thought he was awesome all year, and what I saw Saturday, and even the commitment to him to recognize like I want to drop a little weight after 1 year. Like, I'm going to be in the league for 1 year, and then I'm going to be like I'm going to tweak this, and to do it that matters to me. It's a young kid that commits to that. I like it. I'm very excited about that player. Maybe that's just because we've been so desperately needing a guy on the line to be something for them, and that finally we might feel like we've got a glimpse of that, and I'm just kind of attaching myself to it. It's entirely possible. But I think the player is legit. And I said it earlier, the frame, I think, brings you a level of it's a force multiplier. It is, if he's an average guy at everything, but he's that size, he's going to be good because he's huge. And so I really, really want to see what he does this year.
Lawrence's last year that he was an All-Pro, which was 2023, he had 4.5 sacks.
Okay.
And he was a second-team All-Pro with 4.5 sacks.
We're just moving this line lower and lower, I feel like, as we talk more and more.
You want a higher number just because I Googled it just for the fun of it? I Googled Aaron Donald's career high. It's 20.5.
Yeah.
So that's
Now he's a very different type
very
of
different defensive tackle. Right.
Yeah.
So that's to the point about what he's doing is different. It's a very different player.
Breece Hall just went down non-contact at Jets camp.
Oh, jeez. Just drafted him in a fantasy draft.
They're saying it looks like a groin injury, though.
Okay.
That could be tricky for a running back, though.
That's still not great. I'll tell you from experience. Groin is not fun, but it's better than an Achilles.
Right. When you see untouched.
Yeah, that's you think knee,
yeah.
Achilles. That's a scary thing.
So Breece Hall injured for the Jets. And there was something else that just happened in the league that I just saw. Oh, the Dolphins, a little interesting move here. Not that the Dolphins are going to win a lot of games this year. They have the worst receiving core in football.
They do.
Try and name a Dolphins receiver. Chris Bell.
That would have been the one.
I wondered if he would be like a redshirt guy because of the knee injuries he's had. He was a kind of like we talked about Deion Walker earlier. Deion Walker fell to the 4th round because of injuries.
Yep.
Talent level was higher than that. Chris Bell, I think, is the same thing at wide receiver. He was activated today from the non-football injury list. I think him being the Dolphins' number 1 receiver as a rookie is not out of the question.
No, for sure.
Might even be like a decent bet. So
Maybe
that was a
fantasy play.
Good for them, even though they're tanking.
Right.
Extendo Sports when we come back here on WGR. You have a talent level there that is beyond where he was drafted, and it's showing up. There was a article, one of those series that ESPN does, Jeremy Fowler, during the offseason where they have, all the executives and scouts and coaches vote on something. And one of them was looking around the league at every team's players under 25 years old. And one of the categories under that was blue chip talent. Who on your team, blue chip talent under the age of 25 years old? The Bills as a team overall, I think, ranked 29th on that list. They had one guy listed under blue chip, and it wasn't Cole Bishop. That would have been the guy I was expecting.
Same.
It was Walker.
Right.
Wasn't TJ Sanders, who went 2 rounds ahead of him. Sanders, by the way, was out there into the second half.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what that means for him. But Walker was the guy that, again, that's people in the league that view him as okay, blue chip level talent here.
Yeah.
And he was a monster on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, that is a frame that you if you get a guy that can be an average level technique and understanding of the game guy, that frame will carry him to being great.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And if you get him to be anything above average in those areas and he's got that frame, then you've got a real disruptor on your hands. And that's what he looks like to me. He is, every time he's on the field and I see him, I'm watching him. He could do something every single second he's out there because he's so huge and he's physically dominant and he's young. And that's a guy, give me 3 years on that and fully develop that body out. That's a scary player.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of guy that I see the Rams or the Eagles get their hands on and I go, man, why didn't we do that?
Mm-hmm.
And they did. And I got to give them some credit for that.
Caller 5 right now at 716-221-4WGR wins 4 tickets for you and your friends to the Country Rising Festival at Outer Harbor Terminal B on Friday, August 28th, featuring Big X the Plug, Red Farron, and more. Be part of the biggest country moment coming to Buffalo. All right, Extra Point Show is coming up. Mentioned there's a injury to Breece Hall at Jets camp. We'll see what happens there. Russell Westbrook retired over the weekend in the NBA. Very polarizing career. You know, Kevin Durant posted a long message about Westbrook retiring and how unfair people were to him. When, dude, you started all of that by leaving the way you did. And you two were like enemies for years about it. It's the first thing I thought of when I saw that. What else? Okay, one other thing. Tomorrow, we talked about the open practice earlier, and I mentioned that we had seen that it would be $5 parking in the Bills lots. Sal just tweeted that he's heard it will be free. No charge for parking in the Bills-owned lots tomorrow. So private lots can do whatever they want, but in the Bills-owned lots, no charge for parking if you're going to the practice tomorrow, which begins at 8:30, lots at 5:30, gates open at 6:30. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Stay tuned. Extra Point Show on the way next here on WGR.